Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. It is a Thursday. Look at that. I knew what day it was. I didn't even look at the sheet. Man, I'm off to a good start.
Nailed it. You're on top of it.
Yeah. Had a little food. That's something I haven't had all week. I haven't had lunch all week. That was the first day I've had lunch. And I had a hustle to eat that by the time I got back. I ate that in like 10 minutes.
Big taco,
Yeah, I was eating quickly. Okay, so coming up on today's show, one of my favorite guys. We haven't had him on leading up to the draft, but the draft is tomorrow. And Sunday, Saturday. See, I got confusing days already. So Saturday and Sunday is the draft for the MLB. Dan Zielinski, the third guy that used to be here in Milwaukee at WSSP back in the day. He has his own prospect website, the BP Journal. We'll talk with him coming up at 3 o'clock in our Let's Talk About the Crew segment. Looking forward to that. Outside of that, guest free for the most part the rest of the day. Now, if you missed Ryan Braun on the show last night with Tommy Wirtz and Mark Hass at the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I will place some of that coming up at 4 o'clock. We'll play some Ryan Braun coming up this hour as well. He was also on the show, and both were very, very well done by Tommy and Mark. They did a great job there. So get into all of that. And believe it or not, a fantasy sports segment at 3:20.
We're itching for it, Sparky.
Yeah. And it's not, hey, call in and ask fantasy baseball questions. That's not it. But Charlie discovered something, and I was like, I haven't heard anybody else talking about this. So we'll get into that at 3:20. I want to first start off with the Milwaukee Brewers. Of course, right? It's that time of year. The Brewers are kicking butt and doing their thing. And, yeah, they lost last night. Fine. It is what it is. They had a chance to cut that thing to 1, and Andrew Vaughn couldn't deliver in that moment with runners on second and third. But for the most part, the Cardinals earned that victory last night. Their starting pitcher was better than ours. Harrison wasn't all that great for the second start. And then comes word that there's some soreness on the outside of the elbow that he's been dealing with. Now, I don't want to be, angry over nothing, but please tell me that he was communicating his soreness this entire time. Please tell me that this didn't just come up yesterday. He finally said something. If this has been going on for 2 or 3 weeks, like it sounds like, please tell me that they knew about this and figured, it's nothing major. He's fine. He'll be okay. And we just pitched through it. I really hope yesterday wasn't the first day they heard about this soreness with the elbow.
I mean, it doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of fear coming out of the Brewers at all. It doesn't really seem like any of the beat writers are freaking out about this at all, which tells me that they did know somewhat about this, or at least that they were monitoring something with him for a little while here. And I think that's part of the reason maybe that this is playing out the way it is.
Glass half full, Charlie. I love him.
Why do you think he wouldn't have told anybody?
Because that's how athletes work. Athletes want to play, especially if they're playing well. I'm not going to say nothing. This is the best year I've had in my career. I'm fine. I'll work through it. Don't worry about it.
But also at the same time, he knows that if the season's over now or some reason because of this elbow injury that he may not have told somebody about for 2 to 3 weeks, and then he doesn't play for the second half of the season, that money that he might have made potentially in the future goes down a little bit. That goes down a lot. So that's an issue too. So I think when you have such a highly touted training staff behind you, even at like a Division I university, when you have a lot of just really great people behind you, a part of that training staff, you trust them and you talk to them and you let them know what's happening in order to protect your own investment that you have in yourself.
I've heard so many times over the course of the last 20 years, professional athletes not telling trainers, not telling doctors what's going on because they don't want to sit, and they know they tell them they're going to have to sit. So they just play through it. And gut it out, and then before you know it, it gets too late, and then it ends up being season ending or year ending or whatever. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying I hope there was communication along the way, and they're aware of what is going on with Mr. Harrison. May I remind you that Brandon Woodruff, after his last start, there was talk about an assist potentially, and dead arm, and there wasn't a lot of concern there, right? We're good. It's all right. Well, I'll just have to start back over and work back up from the dead arm. And then what happened? Then they went and saw a specialist and said, oh, look, it's a different injury. It's not the same injury that he had before. It's something different in the same area, but it doesn't look like it's just a cyst or just dead arm like they thought. And now they're going to go get a second opinion. You want to know why you'll go get a second opinion? Because the first opinion probably was surgery and you're done. That's my guess. Just a hunch. But if the news was, hey, rehab, you're back in 3 weeks, there'd be no need to go find a second opinion.
Yeah.
Brandon Woodruff would have said, cool, I got All-Star Week 2 weeks. I'm back by August 1st. Yep, so it sounds good. Let's do it. Let's rehab it up. Doc, show me what I got to do. We're done. The only reason you go get a second opinion is if the first opinion said surgery and you're done. That's my opinion. I have no inside information. That's just my take. I've not heard of a lot of people in my life that aren't athletes, that aren't professional players or professional sports figures, ever go get a second opinion if they like the first opinion. You know, I got good news for you. I don't think you have anything, right? I don't believe it. I think I'm dying. I'm going to go see another doctor. No. Good. I'm good. All right. I got no cancer. I got nothing wrong with me. I'm good. Off we go. I mean, maybe there are people that do that, keep going until somebody tells them something's wrong with them. Maybe that's the case. But in the case with a professional athlete, you only go for a second or third opinion if it's horrible news.
Well, and you've already heard it twice so far this season with the Brewers, with Quinn Priester and Brandon Lockridge. Both had to go get second opinions because both of them didn't end up liking what they were hearing. And now they're both on the 60-day IL.
Lockridge, let me point out, Mr. Tommy Wirtz has been telling me, oh, he's fine. He's fine.
Retroactive. It's going to be
Don't worry about it. And then when they came out with, hey, they're putting an injection in him, I said, that is not fine if they're giving him an injection. It's fine. And now they transfer him to the 60-day IL. Ain't nothing fine about it. Something is wrong. More so than anybody is saying about Brandon Lockridge. Again, non-side information. Just being a casual observer watching this whole thing play out with Brandon Lockridge. Because I think when he got hurt, everybody thought he'd be back by now. Mm-hmm. He'd be playing.
He was supposed to be back by mid-June was the initial report, yeah.
Correct. And no such luck. So anyways, the Brewers, they lose yesterday to the Reds. Today, ESPN has a piece, and Tommy brought it up with Mason and Mitch, that Jeff Passan wrote, talking about dream fit or a perfect fit and then dream fit, right? So for the Dodgers, both Tarek Skubal. No surprise. For the Brewers, Clayton Holmes, coming off of a broken leg or whatever, Clayton Holmes with the Mets. So now we're going to go down that bandwagon again, right? Then dream scenario is Joe Ryan of the Twins. That's who I want. So those are the two pitchers that were put in there. But I'm telling you, you go read that piece, there is a bunch of starting pitchers that they could essentially go out there and get. Here's my question. If the Brewers don't get Skubal, right? They're out. Boom, Dodgers get Skubal in the next couple of weeks before the trade deadline. He's off the market. Dodgers pounce on him first. Or the Braves pounce on him. Whatever. But now the Brewers can't get him, and now you're looking at the deadline. What do you do then? What do you do then for pitching? Who's your guy? Who are your guys? Which way do you go if you're the Milwaukee Brewers if it's not Skubal? Sandy Alcantara, is that going to be your guy? Nick Lodolo with the Reds, is that your guy? Joe Ryan, we've talked about him. Casey Mize, if they trade Skubal, Casey Mize has to be another guy that's going to get traded out of Detroit. So is Casey Mize now going to be that guy for you? Nikolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also feel free to hang out with us on social media as we stream this bad boy live. You can watch Wisconsin Sports Daily and the Growth Love video stream on Instagram, X, and YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Injured, Growth gets it. This is the thing that I would like to throw out there because we really haven't discussed it. If something is wrong with Harrison, Charlie and I got into this off the air. If something is wrong with Harrison and he's out and it's Mizorowski, is it over? Because I told Charlie, because I think you brought up that what if it's bad? Because we don't know. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's over. If he's out, we're done. It's over. I'm not doing anything at the deadline. I am out I'll sit with my farm system. We'll play with the young guys with Miz. We'll go to the playoffs. We'll get beat. We'll come home. But I'm not making a move to go get a second pitcher. That puts me back in the same hole that I am right now. And Charlie, what did you say?
I said, I don't know. You could still go get Tarek Skubal and Nick Lodolo and figure this out. You have the farm system to be able to make those types of trades. And then if you do that, then you have 3 to 4 guys, if you include Brandon Sproat, which I do, or some other people, Logan Henderson, if you want to include him as that for sure guy, you have the amount of pitchers. This team is too good to just give up that quickly. I get it that the Dodgers are awesome and Atlanta's awesome and that the Phillies always find a way to be competitive, especially towards the end of the year with how much talent they have on that roster. At the same time, the Brewers are so talented too. And the Brewers have a ton of talent in the lineup and a ton of talent in the pitching room, both the bullpen and the starting rotation. You can't just say that all of a sudden Kyle Harrison going down. Yes, he's having a great season. And it's an important part of the season that this is over now.
Over. It's all done. Again, I'm not. Please do not blow me up on social media. Oh, Sparky thinks he's a no, and I'm saying that. This was simply a conversation Charlie and I were just talking about in our pre-show meeting while I was eating, and we were just having, and we got into it a little bit back and forth about whether or not it's over or not over and so forth. And then Charlie walked out of my office and went and got ready for the show. Show rundown, got the sound, whatever he had to do. And I'm sitting in there and I'm still eating. And I'm reading this passing piece on ESPN. And I'm thinking to myself, we continue to look at big fish, right? We look at the guys that are going to cost us Luis Pena, the number 2 prospect, or other top prospects, and a sizable deal. But what if, instead of that, what if they said, hey, New York, we want Holmes and Freddie Peralta back for a package going back to you, David Stearns. And we're going to put Holmes and Peralta into this rotation with Mizorowski and then with or without Harrison, whatever the case may be. And you go that route to go get 2 starting pitchers potentially from one team for a package of prospects versus giving up maybe a similar package to get a Skubal or a similar package to get a Joe Ryan. Now, Joe Ryan's a little bit different because Joe Ryan, you have all of next year too, potentially. That could very well be how that plays out. So that kind of, in my mind, has been something I've also been banting back and forth that nobody's really talked about. Getting 2 guys, maybe not studs, but 2 guys that are potential 2 or 3s to add some veteran presence with Mizorowski and Harrison to this rotation.
You could, or you could.
And it protects yourself in case somebody gets hurt.
I think there's just 3 other positions that you could also look at on this team that you could find upgrades, whether they're minor or major upgrades in the trade deadline. And I think putting all your bigger chips in, because for 2 pitchers, it's going to cost you a little bit. Freddie Peralta is going to cost you a little bit, even if he isn't having a good season.
Jet, you're going back to New York,
It would probably be Jet. It would probably, I would assume, maybe a major league player in there too, because the Mets might still want to find
somebody like that.
Gasser or Sal Frelick was the name that I was thinking of too. Stearns probably loves Sal Frelick too.
No problem.
And then a couple other minor league guys that are within your top 30. Yeah, I think it's going to cost that type of package. But again, I don't know. I'd rather just go get Skubal then.
I'm in on that. If you said Frelick's gone, Gasser's gone, Jet's gone, and one of the pitchers in the farm system is gone, to get those 2 here for the rest of the year, yeah, I think I'd be okay with that. I keep Pena. I don't lose Pena. I keep Madej. I keep Fisher. I keep Adam Shefsky. I keep those guys, and then I might lose Tyson Harden or Bishop Letson or something.
Are you making any other trades then? Like, because again, like I'm still saying, like third base is still a little bit of a question mark. I still am not sold on Joey Ortiz. I think right field, if you trade Sal Frelick, at least having another rotational outfielder in that group is going to be important. Having another reliever is going to be important.
Well, they're not trading for 10 guys here.
No.
I mean, they're just not. I don't.
But that's why you can't trade for 2 starting pitchers in one trade and then call it quits afterwards when you got other positions.
No, but we're talking about pitching. What would you do with the pitching?
I get it.
That's what I'm talking
about. That's why I'm saying I'd only do one pitcher. If you can do one pitcher, it's got to be a stud.
But to my counter to that is, yes, you could go get those 2 starters, let's say, and then still go get a reliever. Third base, I'm done on that train. I'm off the train. There is nobody. There isn't anybody. So I'm done with the third base dream. It is what it is. If we want to talk about dream scenarios now my dream scenario is we're here at the All-Star break, and in the next 2 weeks, Fisher and Jesus Midday move up to AAA Nashville. And then if both of them are still hitting at that point, as we get to the end of the season, maybe one of those guys get an opportunity in September to prove themselves before this is all done. So you get a month and a half in Nashville. And then as you get into September, right before September, because you have to make the move before September for playoff rosters, then you make the decision of, do you want to give one of them the chance? And again, Midday has not played third. So I think it's going to have to be Fisher if you want to move that quickly.
Or you keep Joey at third and you play Midday at shortstop and you have Cooper Pratt rotate in with him, and those two rotate around.
I guess, but you pay Pratt all that money. Pratt driving the ball better yesterday.
I also don't think you bring up Midday without giving him a lot of money too, though. Like, again, I think that's going to be the blockage here, and what has been the blockage is that Fisher and Midday haven't been paid yet.
There just doesn't seem to be any momentum towards paying anybody till they're AAA. That's the first thing. And if Midday wants Connor Griffin money, I think that's going to slow the train down too. Justin in Watertown, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Sparky. How you doing?
Good.
So before I get into the trade talk, I just want to talk about Harrison. If he's out for the rest of the year, I mean, that's just par for the course for the Brewers when it comes to their pitching and going into the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, if we think all the way back to 2008, every time we make a good team, put a good team together, we can make a run, all of a sudden our number one or number two pitcher goes down.
Yep. If Gallardo is healthy that 1 year, they probably win it.
Correct. 100%. Right. So it's just something that's always been going on. It's no surprise if he's out for the rest of the year. Don't want it to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does. My dream scenario would be Ryan and then that third baseman from Houston, which I don't even know if he's on the block or not. But I think, if they could go get those two guys, because they both have control for extended periods of time, they might cost a little bit. But at the same time, if you trade with the Mets, heck, if Ortiz has 2 good weeks, they might take him. I mean, they seem to take everybody's garbage now. So, I mean, can we just trade Ortiz for Peralta straight up?
Yeah, right. That would David Stearns loves him.
Might do it.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be pressure on Stearns to make moves at the deadline here to try and replenish his farm system and get better. I fully expect him to be a fire sale. Like everybody on the major league roster, I would think will be available for the Mets and David Stearns.
I feel like if we wanted Freddie, we could probably get him for pennies on a dollar at this point because he's not pitching very well. So it wouldn't take top prospects, I don't think, to get him.
No, and see, that's the thing. Thanks for the call. How much would you have to give up to get some of these guys, especially if they're not doing well? But, you have Chris Hook, and you figure that's okay. Isaac Paredes, 27 years old. His win above replacement is 2.1 right now. He's hitting 253, 346 on base, 419 slugging, 12 homers, 47 RBIs on the year right now. No stolen bases. His most in a year is 1.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say,
his most in a year.
He's not going to steal.
You're 1.
Trading for him.
He's never had more than 1 in a single season. His best year playing baseball was in 2023 with the Rays, where Matt Arnold, remember, was before all of this. He wasn't there in 23, but Paredes, 31 homers, 98 RBIs, hit 250, 352 on base. That was his best year. That was 3 years ago.
Well, and you said there's nobody really out there. Like, you have names out there, including Paredes, who have had success in the past, and that maybe in a new situation that they could come into this Brewers lineup and give you a little bit of a boost, kind of Mike Moustakas-esque a little bit. And I know Moustakas was closer to his good years than a lot of these other guys are. But Devers, I know, is a lot of money. That's probably unrealistic. But Chapman, Suarez, Bohm, Paredes, Josh Young have all had seasons where they've had promise at the very least. And I think from the Brewers organization, who does so well at developing anybody for the most part, can go and work with these guys to hopefully find their swing again.
Paredes has a club option for 27 at $13.3 million. So if he played well in the second half and they wanted to keep him for 1 more year before they bring up Fisher or Midday to play third base, that also would be an opportunity. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be a rental.
I think the other thing you're looking at with some of these other teams, like the names I just listed, these are all the current MLB trade candidates according to Spot Track. But teams like Philadelphia and Houston, like we're talking about with Paredes, and Texas even to some degree, I think a lot of these teams are going to be looking to still potentially compete too. So it might have to be more major leaguer for major leaguer type of deal. And that's where I think you can look into some of your bullpen pieces and say, hey, is that worth a third baseman if we can bring up some of these other young guys and work them into these relief roles instead?
If we go to the 414, Jeff in Milwaukee, hey, Sparky, we're going to need a pitcher or two. If you look at our minor leaguers, it's really unbalanced. All hitters, 0 pitching, and I mean 0. I don't think I agree with you on that. They've got some pitchers that are coming. Guys that didn't get off to great starts, but now have started to catch fire here in the last couple of weeks. Noth, who they just drafted a couple years ago, he was minor league pitcher of the month. He just got going. Bishop Letson got off to a rough start, but he seems to be figuring it out. Tyson Hardin has flown through the farm system over the last couple of years. He's all the way up to AAA right now. That's another guy. So they have some pitching for sure. Do they have as much? No. But if you look at what you have, Henderson, Sproat, Shane Drowan, and Gasser, of those four, one of those probably is getting traded here in a package to go get a starting pitcher. That's my guess, that one of those guys go in a deal to get whoever it is, Skubal, Joe Ryan, Sandy Alcantara, whoever it is, one of those guys goes in that deal, and then maybe one of the minor league pitchers too as well.
My guess is it's probably going to be Henderson or Gasser. I think Gasser, his recent performance helps him out a little bit, and the Brewers can maybe sell high on that. And then with Henderson, just his overall performance, his ranking in the Brewers farm system, he seems more like a guy that could be a top piece of any kind of one of these trades, whereas Gasser is going to be a type of player that's more of a throw-in towards the 3 or 4 part of this trade.
I got another text message coming in here from the 414. Sell the farm for Gunnar Henderson. You will recoup prospects when you trade William Contreras this offseason. Gunnar Henderson, you will have for 2 more seasons after this one. Year 2 of arbitration is in 27. Year 3 of arbitration is in 28. Then he becomes a free agent in 29. He's only making, $8.5 million this year. And obviously that number is going to go up going forward. This year right now, Gunnar Henderson, and again, shortstop, third base, wherever you want to play him. In this case, I'm guessing you play him at third. I think maybe not, unless you trade Cooper Pratt back in that deal, right?
Which is potential still,
right? Gunnar Henderson having the worst year currently of his career at this point, hitting 220, 291 on base, 399 slugging. He does have 16 homers with 45 RBIs. If you go back on Gunnar Henderson now, his best year hitting the ball was in 2024 when he had 37 homers and 92 RBIs. What happened to the power? The next year, last year, he played 5 less games. He only had 17 home runs. That's it last year.
And played a majority of the season,
yes,
154 of the games.
Yes,
yeah.
He only had 5 less games. Now this year, he's already at 16, so he's back on pace to be over 30 home runs again. But at 220 batting average and 291 on base suck.
Well, and he's not hitting for anything other than home runs and doubles for the most part. So his slugging percentage is struggling from that.
Yeah,
too.
399 slugging. Normally his slugging's at 440, 450?
Yeah, you can put it around 430 at the lowest.
Yeah. I mean, so again, that to me is a gamble on, okay, we think we can get him going offensively in our ballpark and then give up whatever you're going to give up to get him. With how loaded this system is, with people in the middle of the infield and so forth, and they've got multiple third basemen that potentially are coming too, I really would be stunned if they made that type of move.
But again, this is
it would blow the roof off Major League Baseball. They trade for Gunnar Henderson. Ain't nobody talking about that.
And it's one of the few teams, I think, in major leagues right now that have officially counted themselves out in the Baltimore Orioles.
Right.
I don't think that's a squad that thinks they're going to compete for the rest of the year. So that's one of the few teams I think is going to value prospects pretty highly too. Talk about how loaded the middle infield is with the farm system. I think this is a perfect opportunity, like you were saying, a Cooper Pratt or Luis Pena to say, hey, this is worth moving one of those guys.
Here's another one in the Nicolay Law Talking text line from the 262. If the Brewers are going to make a trade, they can't go cheap and get retreads. They need impact players. Trading a package of prospects for depth is not getting us closer to a World Series. Devers would rake at AmFam Field.
Probably. Like, that's just a huge gamble because his contract's so much more expensive. And the Giants
it's the
would
most
probably have to
un-Milwaukee thing in the world.
The Giants would have to take on a whole lot of it for it to even make sense, which is possible. The Giants have a lot of money and have been shown to spend a little bit of money, especially if it means they can get somebody who they feel has been a little detrimental to their locker room over the past season or so.
For those of you that don't know what his contract is,
it's gross, man.
He's age 29 this year, right? He's making $27 million. You're like, oh, okay. I mean, Yelich is like 23
and
million.
Rafael Devers in the past has had some really amazing seasons. So
yeah, the problem is that you have to pay him all the way up to $28.5 million in 2033 in his age 36 season before he is eligible for free agency at age 37 in 2034.
Well, and again, I think if the
No
Giants,
chance.
if the Giants want to trade him, though, if they feel that harshly about him and what he's done for this team this season, they should be willing to pay for a lot of that contract. At least half of it would be my mind. If that's the case, that makes it a lot more feasible for a team like the Brewers.
He's not the most in shape dude in the whole wide world anyhow. Now you're going to tell me he's going to look better physically and athletically by the time he's 33, 34, 35, 36?
When they're happier, if they're in a better situation, sometimes they do. That's what a lot of these players.
What was that? He signed a 10-year, $313.5 million deal with the Red Sox and was mad about how they were handling him.
Well, because they were trying to play him in weird positions that he didn't want to play, and then he ended up playing them in San Francisco.
Yes.
Again, you just have to, if you're going to do this, you have to be sure that you can put him in a situation where he's going to be happy. And I think the Brewers are one of those situations where most players tend to be happy.
Coming up next, we're going to hear from Ryan Braun last night on the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony show last night with Mark Hass from Miami Sports, and Tommy Wirtz did a great job with Ryan Braun. It was at the very, very end. It was at 5:35, somewhere in that area, 5:40. Ryan Braun was on right before they walked in. So coming up next, we'll play a couple of cuts from that. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, producing the show today. Don't forget, Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's where you want to go to watch all your soccer action. I know the U.S. is out, but still lots of games going on. Did you want to check out there? 2,000 square foot center screen, over 30 sporting events at one time, 2 different levels, all kinds of different styles of seating there for you to pick from as well. Always recommend reserving your seat online ahead of time by going to Potawatomi.com. Yeah, there's a nominal fee, but you can take care of that because it goes towards your food and beverage costs that you pay. So I don't know what the number is. Let's say it's $50 for the table that you want. And then you and your buddies go out and you each have something to eat, have a drink or whatever else. $50 is automatically kind of put towards whatever your bill is at the end. So say your bill's $100, it's going to cost you $50 because you already paid $50 for reserving your seat. So again, essentially you're using that money to your benefit anyhow. So go to Potawatomi.com to reserve your seat today. And then that Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen, unmatched, right? All day brunch with delicious stuff, steak and eggs, whatever you may want there. Then they also have burgers, wraps, salads, all good stuff there. And homemade pastries and desserts each and every day made there at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Beers, you like beer? Over 40 different taps of beer right there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen, including over a dozen different specialty cocktails. Check it all out today at Potawatomi.com. Last night, we had the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony show with Tommy Wirtz and Mark Hass. And it was very cool. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it or not. It was on yesterday from 4:30 to 5:30. I thought they did a great job with it, Charlie, yesterday.
It was awesome. Both those guys, to talk to so many awesome people in the first place, should be an honor for both of them. I know they both treated it like that the entire time, too. All these people were just great interviews. And again, Tommy and Mark did a great job.
Yeah, I think they did an outstanding job on that for sure. So there's so much ground that they covered in all of this when we start talking about Braun's career and so forth that they got into. I'm just going to go through here and pick some of what was talking about. First, Braun on watching Yelich win an MVP as his teammate.
You know, obviously later in my career was honored to have an opportunity to kind of help mentor him. I think when you go through something like that, there's so few people and players you can relate to because there's an intensity, there's a bar that you've set really high. And I think there's a level of stress that comes with that. And so for me to be able to just kind of help him along the way was something that was really enjoyable to me and grateful to kind of have that full circle moment to give back.
So if you're Christian Yelich, Braun won the MVP, then got busted for what might have been going on that year. I believe it was Kemp, the Dodgers, that pretty much was like, yeah, that should have been mine. Like, they should just give me the damn MVP award to take it away from him type deal of why I went down.
The numbers, Kemp probably deserved it too that year. I think.
There was a tight race.
I think
it was a real tight race.
Braun ran away with it towards the end of the race, but I think Kemp just throughout the season, in my opinion, looking back on it, I don't know, had a pretty good case.
Yeah, but so that was a tight race. And then you find out later that Braun was doing what Braun was doing. But if you're Yelich, and there's Braun, and you know Braun's history, I just wonder how those players kind of treated that situation. I do know when he was there, they looked at him as kind of a leader. Like, they relied on him, similar to how they're relying on Yelich right now in that clubhouse.
Well, and as they should. He was the veteran guy in that group.
Yeah.
Yes, he made a mistake, but he was out there moving on from that mistake. And I think that's a huge thing just kind of overall in life. Yes, in baseball, he's a cheater. He's going to go down as that. He's obviously didn't make the Hall of Fame now. And it's just kind of, that's going to be the blemish on his career. But what he did to kind of move on from that and still uphold what he felt like was this love from Milwaukee and continue that even after he was playing, I think is huge. And I think that's something that Christian Yelich and a lot of these guys can look up to, even though baseball wise, it maybe wasn't the best decision. Life wise, the way he treated it afterwards and moved on from it afterwards was huge.
What's the name of that Twitter account, X account that you turned me on to, the Hall of Pretty Good?
Yeah.
Do they allow cheaters in?
Yes, I believe they do. I think they have a couple guys that have done steroids in the Hall.
So Braun could make that one.
He could.
Yeah. So Braun can make that one.
Actually, no, he can't, because one of the rules is you can't win an MVP.
So he can't even make that Hall of Fame?
Nope.
And the Brewers don't have one?
No.
No, they've got the walk.
Yeah,
and
but
the
the
wall.
Walk of Fame, like, it
Kind of.
It
kind of.
I think that gets the job done.
Yeah, I guess. I don't understand. I'll never understand why they don't do a regular standalone building Hall of Fame like the Reds do. And again, I know they don't have the championships of the Reds. They don't have all the history of the Reds and all the Hall of Famers and all of that. So I understand it can't be of the level of Cincinnati, but I just think it would be pretty sweet. It just would. You would have an attraction in the offseason too. And then on game days, I'm telling you, having been to that Reds Hall of Fame, on game days, I wasn't a Reds fan. I paid money because I wanted to go check it out, and I was happy I did because it was amazing.
Well, and a lot of other sports teams in general, when I went and toured Kansas City, the football stadium, that was really, they have a Hall of Fame section in there too, where they have a bunch of jerseys hung up, different busts of players.
I mean, it's not going to be the Packers Hall of Fame. No, I'm not saying that, but
just a little something to walk through and see the history of the team. Yeah,
I think it would be cool. But what do I know? Braun on the moment that mattered most to him in his career.
If I think about it, it's making my major league debut.
Really?
I think every celebration was so special. Every time I had an opportunity to celebrate with teammates. But when I think about it as a little kid, the dream is to make it to the major leagues. And so to have an opportunity to literally, as cliche as it sounds, live that dream.
What was it like? What was that day like for you?
Man, it's like every emotion you can think of. Right. It was in San Diego, so I grew up in Los Angeles, and I had, 50 plus people that were able to make it down because I had a 24, 48 hour, window of advance notice where everybody was able to make it down. So to share that moment with so many people that had been impactful in my life was something that I struggled to put into words. It was so cool, so special.
It's going to be amazing because later when Charlie's in the Radio Hall of Fame, they're going to ask him the same question. It was the first day working with this dude that called himself Sparky back in the day in Milwaukee. That was the first day.
Drove me crazy.
Right.
And
but that first day, I'll never forget it. Right? That's what it was all about back in the day. Yeah, right. Okay. Some of the other things that came up with Ryan Braun. Again, anytime you have any of these guys on that play with Sabathia, you have to ask him about CeCe.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to quantify the impact that has on the group, right? When you know that the front office has gone out there, made the commitment, believes in that group, that we can get to the postseason, that we can make a deep run in the postseason. It really just, it's exciting, it's motivating to the group. And obviously, the front office always does everything in their power to put the team in a position to win. But that was certainly a moment that felt like, okay, we're really going for this. They believe in us. They believe in this group.
That is why it is so important that if Harrison is healthy and is okay with his elbow, and Mizorowski is still healthy and everything is on course, that they go get something significant at the deadline. It is. Because like Braun says there, it showed you how much Doug Melvin and the owner of this Brewers team believed in how far they thought this team could make a run. And remember, it had been 26 years since they've been in the postseason. So they were wanting to make a mark of some sort. And getting Sabathia rocked the baseball world because nobody saw the Brewers getting Sabathia at that point.
We just don't know what Mark Atanasio thinks. He doesn't talk all that often. Usually get him towards the end of the season. So we don't really know if he feels like this team is at that point right now, like Doug Melvin and that ownership group did. I think that's just different. And I think that Mark Atanasio, like we've talked about in the past, is truly the guy that's making the final decision on a lot of stuff. And I think he trusts Matt Arnold to go and make these moves. But if he's not ready to go, like most sports teams, they're not going to make that move.
If you want to listen to this entire interview, all you got to do is go to wisportsradio.com, Best Brewers Coverage, or just search Best Brewers Coverage, wherever you download your favorite podcast at, and you'll hear this entire interview from last night's Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony at the Marcus Center, downtown Milwaukee. Tommy Wirtz and Mark Hass did the show yesterday from 4:30 to 5:30. Braun was the last guest of the night and talked about playing his whole career in Milwaukee. And did he ever get close to leaving?
It was very special. I feel very fortunate. One of the few.
Nowadays, think about that.
Very few guys in today's world have that opportunity. And, my older two children were born here. My youngest would have been born here if not for COVID. This community really embraced my family and I. My kids started school here. We had so many close friends here that, it's such a special part of our lives. And I feel very grateful that I was able to spend my career here.
Was there ever a chance you're going to go somewhere else, or were you always committed to staying here?
There were a couple moments where it felt relatively close.
Okay.
I was in a fortunate enough position where I was able to control it, and the team was always very forthcoming and communicative with me. My goal was always to stay, but there were a couple moments where it looked like we may have been further away from contention, but I'm a firm believer that things work out the way that they're supposed to, and I'm very grateful that I was able to stay here.
Remember, he had a no-trade clause. So he like Lucroy, essentially, could dictate where they were going if they were going there. And Christian Yelich currently sits in the same boat. And that is a powerful, powerful thing to have in your contract. Because if you don't want to move your family halfway across the country, if you don't want to put your kids into some other school system or whatever else, regardless of what's going on in the field, your wife's just like, we ain't moving. I don't care how bad your team is. We're not moving. The kids love with their friends. They want to stay in their school. I've got a good group of friends here. You figure it out. We're not going anywhere. And that's the end of it. I don't care what the Brewers want to do or the Pirates or the Cardinals, whoever has a player with a no trade clause, the team is screwed.
Do you think if Giannis never won that championship, he would have that mentality more so? That like he didn't have the taste of the championship, so then he'd be okay just kind of sticking it out in Milwaukee because he doesn't want to move his family.
I think if Giannis doesn't win the championship, he's gone at least 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. He never would have been here this long. I don't think, because they said all this stuff of him greener pastures and chasing rings and all that started that year, or right around that time, 2020, 2021 is when all this started behind the scenes. So no, if they lose to the Nets, let's say they fire Bud, that was happening. Eric Name has said that on our airwaves of Bud was getting fired. They were ready to fire him and they would have lost that series. He was gone. So they fire Bud. That's Giannis's guy. Now, what's the next coaching hire after that? And if it goes as sideways as everything that's gone sideways on the Bucks since Bud, he's gone way before this. You never get to the Lillard trade. That trade never happens.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, coach-wise, would Darvin Ham probably would have gotten the job because he got a head coaching job pretty soon after that with LA, right?
No way, because Lazary is still here at that point. They still don't have a championship. They're greedy for a championship. No, they would have spent big money on a big name, especially if Mark Lazary was still involved.
Yeah.
There's no chance he's promoting Darvin Ham off Bud's
even though the Lakers felt like he was the guy to help them out.
Well, good for them. I'm just telling you, I don't think there's any chance with Mark Lazary there. They're making that move. Could be wrong. I don't think I am. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen over there, other side of the glass. Got some more stuff coming in here from earlier on. From the 574, MVPs don't get mentored. That's not, you're wrong. Okay. Can I just say you're wrong? 574. Everybody gets mentored during their career.
Giannis talks about it all the time, going back to him about Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Because he was building throughout the course of his career. And I promise you, that man has MVPs if Shaq or whoever said, hey, dog, I see something I can help you with. You want to come work out with me this summer? I bet you Giannis doesn't say, no, dude, I got it all figured out. I don't need your help, dude. Thanks. Appreciate it. I got it all figured. Come on, man. You'd have to be a complete moron to pass up an opportunity to get mentored by another great player. And in Yelich's case, Braun was there when Yelich was there coming up when they made that move. He was still there. So before he got going, and again, if we just want to look outside in, Yelich didn't have that power prior to coming to Milwaukee. That bust out power year, MVP year, and all that he had for those couple of years. We didn't see that with the Marlins.
He was a doubles hitter with Marlins. He was one of the best doubles hitters in the league with Marlins, but he turned it into home runs.
And now what is he?
Not back to a doubles hitter at best. Sometimes a singles hitter.
That's why last year when he hits 29, I was like, holy crap, man. I was wrong. Like, I thought this power was long gone.
That was after 2 years of not having it, too.
Correct. Yeah. I thought it was done. I was like, that's done. He's going to be just a singles, doubles guy, top of the lineup, like he's doing now. That's what I thought he was. And all of a sudden, boom, 29. I was like, oh, well, if he's got this lineup looks completely different. If Yelich is, I mean, think about it. If Yelich is Yelich of last year right now, Charlie, right? Mm-hmm. And he's sitting at 16, 17 home runs right now and hitting 285, 290. He's not batting leadoff.
No.
Right? He's down in the lineup, and that lineup looks a million times better.
Yeah, you go back to having Churio or Terang, or now that Lara's up here, one of those guys at the leadoff spot, and that's a really dangerous leadoff hitter too, man. Like, you just feel so much better, again, about this lineup with one more guy hitting that 17 number or 16 number.
One other piece of advice. Don't go buy a Brewers jersey right now. I mean, unless it's Churio or Miz. I think everybody else could be had.
No Cooper Pratt or Luis Lara.
And Contreras. They're not trading Contreras right now. But other than that, I think everybody else in this lineup could be moved if they think they can get a big enough impact player. You have Vaughn and Bowers. Could one of them get moved potentially at the deadline? Nobody's talking about that. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Hello. How are you? Hope you're well. It is Thursday. Sparky here. Charlie Usen producing the show. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'd like to take a second or two, maybe more than a second or two, to address that it's this time of year that if you have kids that play baseball, you are in the most horrible time of the year in youth sports, which is tryouts for youth baseball teams and so forth. I got a text last night from somebody that used to work in this building at like 10:23 at night. Hold on a second. I'm going to call it up. I was literally on my couch working on my computer.
So they're doing tryouts right now in the middle of the season too? What?
Oh, the season ends here this week, next week. So our last tournament for 10U is next weekend.
Okay.
So we have a tournament this weekend in Green Bay, and then next weekend we have one kind of over here by where we are in the radio station in Milwaukee.
Another month of summer left.
Don't get me started on that. I've always said this is stupid. Like they should play to like the middle of August.
Right.
Then have tryouts at the end of
starts,
August, and then fall ball can start in September, and then they play with their new teams in September. But no, that's not how it works. Instead, we start in April when it's cold and rained every day, and instead of playing May through July and into August. Let's see here. So last night, I'm working on my computer, not worrying anything too much about it, and I get a text. Hey, old friend, can I pick your brain about club baseball? And this dude is texting me and telling me that his kid's team, high school team, folded. They got a call. We're done. All done. Good luck finding jobs.
Right.
Good luck finding places to play, everybody, in high school. Some of these tryouts are done already for high school players. So, and the ones that aren't done, you've got closed registration already for a lot of these other clubs. So now this family is scrambling, trying to figure out where they can get their kid to go play youth sports. It's crazy. It is so nuts.
Well, and especially like a high school player, there's not little league that you can just go do if like you get screwed and you can't try out for anything. You have to play in the AAU league if you want to play for one of those teams.
Correct. And that's the other thing. So like if your kid isn't that good and now all of a sudden isn't good enough to make a team, now you're back in little league again. And I'm telling you folks, little league versus travel ball, I don't care what age we're talking, it is not close. It is night and day.
Be the MVP of the little league.
And if you don't believe me, I don't care if your kid is 8 or 9. You go to a travel game, even at the lowest level of travel ball, whatever level that may be, C, D level, and whatever league you may be in, go watch one of those games and then go to a little league game. It's not even remotely close. It's just not remotely close.
But again, then your kid can be the MVP of the little league.
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no question. Yes. And some, have them in there. And the other part of it is people can't afford to have their kids in travel ball. So yeah, I know my kid's pretty good, but I can't spend $1,000 or $2,000.
Topic all over social media because of soccer. And
correct.
All that. Mm-hmm.
By the way, I've never heard that before.
What?
Soccer. I've heard hockey is the most expensive for travel sports.
Expensive.
Baseball, I've heard, is the second most expensive. Basketball can be, but there's so many sponsors of these basketball teams and so forth, all that. There's a piece in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel on Tyler Hero's 17U travel team that he's a sponsor of. They had 5 D1 commits in their starting lineup, all this other stuff. And now, again, if he's not on the Bucks, there's no article on Tyler Hero's 17U select team. But there was today a whole piece talking about all these guys on that team.
Any travel sport is expensive.
Yes.
Nowadays, soccer is, volleyball is super expensive. My family has experience with that. My 2 sisters played travel volleyball, and that was just a lot too.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter what sport it is. If you're traveling, you're paying.
You get priced out, man. You just get priced out. It's nuts. All right. With that being said, let's get to a guy that's some high-priced talent.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Here we are. Dan Zielinski, the third, joins us now. You can see his pretty smiling face right there on X, YouTube, Instagram Live at WI Sports Radio, or find us on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page as well, streaming across all those platforms. He is the guy that runs and operates.
I don't know if he can hear you.
BaseballProspectJournal.com, BaseballProspectJournal.com. He is pointing at his headphones, meaning he cannot hear us.
So let me
text. Yeah, that's fine. You can just call him. Just get him on the phone. We don't have to do the video. It's not that big of a deal. So we'll get Dan out. Now, if you don't know the background on Dan Zielinski III, Dan Zielinski is a gigantic baseball dork, nerd, whatever you want to call it. And he has been doing this for quite some time, right? And what he decided to do was, I'm going to start journaling everything that I do. So he interviews, I don't know how many he's interviewed this year, but in years past, he'll interview 40, 50, 60 guys that are going to be in this amateur draft that you're going to see on Saturday and Sunday for baseball. Watches the games, travels and watches some games, does all of this stuff, and is really just over the top invested in watching high school players and college players and the College World Series and everything that goes along with it. And that, to me, is a pretty cool deal. So he created this website called BaseballProspectJournal.com, BaseballProspectJournal.com. And now it's just awesome, right? He's got the mock draft. He's got write-ups on all the different players and all of the stuff. And we've had him on for the last couple of years since we got up and going again here in Milwaukee. And before that, I used to have him on my show in Milwaukee. Joining us now on the guest hotline, no longer being able to see his pretty face on the stream. He is Dan Zielinski. Dan, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve. Always enjoy talking to you.
Okay, so I was just giving everybody the background on baseballprospectjournal.com and your passion for it and so forth. So I always like to find out the number of players that you've had the opportunity to talk to and interview for all the great stuff you do with your website.
Yeah, this year was about 35. In my 12 years doing it, it's around 700. Always enjoy catching up with these players, talking to them, figuring out kind of what makes them tick and really what makes them, motivated on and off the baseball field.
Let's talk about where the Brewers are this year. The Brewers in past years have had a lot of pool money, right? And the way this works in amateur baseball with this baseball draft, different than, say, the NBA or the NFL, is you get a pool of money and then you've got to spend that pool of money however you determine you want to spend it. That's how you can overspend for a guy like Cooper Pratt in the 6th round, because you use your money wisely as far as how much you want to sign these players for. You get a number that you believe this kid's going to sign for later in the draft to pull him away from his college commitment, and you're good. The problem is that this year the Brewers picked 25 in the 1st round. Okay, that's not end of the world. They normally pick down there. The end of the world part of it is they're in the bottom 3rd of the league as far as how much money they get to play with this year. From a pool money perspective, Dan, how do you think that hampers what is normally their draft strategy?
Yeah, that's a great question, because this year they had the 6th lowest bonus pool allotment.
Correct.
Part of that has to do with them trading away the 67th overall pick, which was in the competitive balance B round for Kyle Harrison. So you trade that for a guy who's been your 2nd best starting pitcher. Kind of a decent trade there, but it definitely impacts the way the Brewers want to handle this draft. I think it makes it more likely for them to take a college position player or college player in general at the 25th overall pick, because they're going to have to be a little bit more strategic when it comes to spreading all these dollars across the draft. Like you mentioned, the Brewers like to, take some risks and sign some of these high school guys with their extra money. In order to do that, you have to take guys who are either under slot or college performers who have a little bit less leverage than the high school player. So I think, a college player in the 1st round is more than likely this year for the Brewers.
Okay, so college player. Now we've talked about this in the past. I'm all about college pitchers and high school hitters. That would be how I go about it going forward. The college hitter perspective, if you're going that way, to me, that means you have a hole at a position and you need that player here in 2 years. And that's why you're making that move for a college hitter. Now, when you look at the Brewers farm system right now, if you're saying, where's the weakness from a position player standpoint, I think it's in the outfield. Even though Ragsdale is playing well, Braylon Payne is playing well, Adam Shevsky is playing well, you still have guys that are playing well, but I still think that's probably the weakest area of this farm system from a positional player standpoint, meaning not pitching. What say you?
Yeah, The Brewers never seem to really draft for need necessarily. They have taken, though, a corner position player, infielder, the last few years in the first round. So maybe they're kind of looking at it in that regard. I agree with you. I think outfielder or maybe a third baseman could be in play if they do go the position player route. One guy I really like is Zion Rhodes. He's an outfielder out of Louisville. He's someone who is from Illinois, was a high school catcher, someone I'm really familiar with, just covering him over the last 5 or so years. Really, he's 6'1", 205-pound right-handed hitter. Really simple approach at the plate. Hits for average, hits for a little bit of power, but really known for his exceptional plate discipline and someone who can really just drive the baseball, foul pole to foul pole, really hard from a line drive standpoint. Great IQ, great maturity, and someone who I think can play all over the outfield. So that's someone that I think is definitely in the mix as well for them. If they would go maybe a third base route, Ace Reese, the third baseman from Mississippi State, he's a 6'4", 225-pound left-handed hitter, and he's someone that has above average raw power and really able to drive the baseball into both gaps. Now, again, we've seen them, go this route with Andrew Fisher last year, Brock Wilken 2 years ago. They took Blake Burke 2 years ago with their second first-round pick they had, and it's been hit and miss so far for them out of those three guys. Andrew Fisher, Blake Burke so far look pretty good. Brock Wilken, not so much. But Ace Reese is a guy that hits for a ton of power, able to have success against left-handed and right-handed pitching. So maybe someone that's also in the mix that the Brewers have shown interest in throughout this draft cycle.
I'll tell you where my struggle is, okay? Because you know me, I'm always going to counterpoint you a little bit here. Not saying anything's wrong with your guy. But if they go third base and it's not Cole Prosek, the high school kid, I will be absolutely amazed. Magnolia Heights, Mississippi, high school kid. Why, Dan Zielinski, do you think that I think that this is the Brewers pick for at 25? Why do you think that?
Well, in Prosek, you missed that he's a nephew of Matt Erickson, the third base coach.
That's why I think he's going to be at 25. That's exactly right. If they go third base, I don't see how you pass on this kid. He's right in the area of the bottom of the first round projected anyhow.
And I think from a slot value standpoint, the Brewers have a slot value at just about $3.7 million. I don't know if he would command that fully. I mean, he's in that range, but he's definitely not a guaranteed first-round pick. But Prosek, I really like. I like him more at third base than catcher. You just see the history of high school catching. It doesn't usually pan out. It's too much for an 18-year-old to come into professional baseball and have to worry about trying to live on their own for the first time, learn how to manage a pitching staff, and then while also trying to hit pro pitchers that are, 4 years older than them even. So, but Prosek, there's a lot to like. Left-handed hitter, really quick, compact swing, advanced hit tool, which I think is always really key for a high school guy. Shows some ability to hit for power. Not the best runner, doesn't have the greatest quickness, but I think at third base, I think he can handle it. It just might not be Gold Glove level. He's a little bit older for his class, so he would be a draft-eligible sophomore if the current draft rules stay the way they currently are. So that could maybe factor into his decision as well in terms of signability. But I think the Brewers, if they take him at the first round, he's going to be signable. They know him just as well as anyone with Matt Erickson. So I think he's definitely in play there as well.
Talking with Dan Zielinski, baseballprospectjournal.com. The amateur draft comes up Saturday and Sunday. What about Sawyer Strohsnyder, the outfielder with TCU?
Yeah, I definitely think he's in the mix. We recently did a staff draft over at Baseball Prospect Journal where me and another one of our draft writers kind of go back and forth on the picks throughout the first round. And Sawyer Strohsnyder is someone I took for the Brewers there at 25. Had a little bit of a down year, sophomore year, but really has an exciting tool set. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. Mostly played right field at TCU, but he definitely has the skills to play center field. He's athletic, has a strong arm, and someone that can hit for power, and I think will hit for some decent average. He has to definitely work on some of his, plate discipline in that regard. That was something that at times lacked this year, but overall, I just think he's a really well-rounded player and someone from the left side of the plate that can do some damage in the pro game.
What about this? They've taken Fisher. They took Burke, as you mentioned earlier, from Tennessee. Do they go back the Volunteers route and take Tegan Kuhns, the pitcher?
I like Tegan Kuhns a lot. I think he's kind of flown under the radar a bit because he had a good quality year at Tennessee, but he wasn't like one of the top pitchers necessarily. week in and week out. He just was a consistent, performer. But big time fastball that touches, the mid 90s and sits mid 90s, touches high 90s, and really has a great curveball. He still needs to work on a third pitch, but I think in the Brewers player development system, he's got the right tools to be really successful. He's got the size, he's got the fastball with some movement, and he's coming from a really good program that's developed a lot of players for pro ball over these last 5 to 10 years. So I like Tegan Kuntz a lot, and I think he's someone that can profile as a starter long term.
All right, give me a sleeper name that may go in the first, 3 rounds or so that you really like, that you may think is undervalued, that, man, the Brewers take this dude at some point, we're going to be having a Dan Zielinski celebration party at the house.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if the Brewers will take him, and it might be a little biased being local, but one guy I'm really high on that I think flies under the radar is Dominic Santorelli.
That's my guy. There you go.
Catholic.
There you go, Zielinski. There you go. That's right. That's who I'm rooting for, too. He won't be a first-round pick, but, man, I love that.
But I think he could be maybe sneak into the second. I think it's more likely a third. He had a pretty good showing at the Combine. Every time I saw him play this spring, was just extremely impressed with him. He's, in my 12 years covering the draft and seeing all the guys from Wisconsin come through, he's right up there with all the other big names that have come through this state. Great size. I mean, just really impressive. 6'1", 230.
Yep.
His left-handed swing is just built for power. He draws the comps of the Kyle Schwarber. Part of that has to do with they have the same agent advisor. He also hit with him this offseason, but his swing is just so smooth and so quick to the ball. And he's athletic and can handle center field even with his size. There's just so much I'm surprised he hasn't generated more higher interest in terms of the draft, but he's going to still go early, get paid, and probably bypass the LSU commitment. But,
you are the only person on planet Earth that thinks he can play center field. Like literally any other person I talk to or read, they all say he's going to be in right field or first base or maybe a DH. Like nobody else is sold he can play center field except Dan Zielinski.
And I've seen him play, and he's definitely athletic and can, go side to side really well, cover the gaps. He's definitely made strides in that regard over the last 6 months to a year. I still think I would put him out there in center field to begin with. If he can't handle it, move him to right field, and I think he'll be just fine there. He's got the arm strength. Like I said, for his size, he's definitely more athletic than people give him credit for. The bat's a calling card, but defensively, I think he'll be just fine in the outfield.
There he is, Dan Zielinski. Go check out his website. You will love it. BaseballProspectJournal.com. BaseballProspectJournal.com. Follow him on X at Dan Zielinski 3 or the actual site itself at the BP Journal on X at the BP Journal. Dan, thanks so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Steve. Always enjoy it. Talk soon.
You betcha. There he is, Dan Zielinski III, joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. We do have other Brewers news. Brewers reinstating Logan Henderson from the 15-day injured list. Garrett Stallings, who struck out the side with changeups last night, he is optioned back down to Triple-A Nashville. Everybody excited to see Logan Henderson today.
Hopefully he can stay in the rotation because we kind of need somebody to stick around for a little bit.
He's just got to stay healthy. Like that's all I'm asking. Like I know he's good enough to pitch in the rotation and be really, really good in the rotation. And I believe that everybody agrees with me on this. The problem is he just can't stay on the field and it's his back. And that's the thing. As we've seen with Yelich for how many years now, when you have a back injury, and I think most of you would agree, very rarely does it all of a sudden just magically disappear and you never suffer from a back issue again. That's what I'm concerned about. Once you have a back issue, you normally always have a back issue.
But we've also seen other guys that in the past have had these injury problems for the Milwaukee Brewers. Garrett Mitchell has been able to stay on the field so far.
Though.
I know it's not
He's
a back.
had other weird things happen.
But it just, you feel more confident that now some of these other guys that have been hurt for a while are starting to stay on the field a little bit more. You've had a little more faith in the training staff. Like you just feel, I don't know, I feel better about this.
You're trying to jinx him as a Cubs fan.
No, I'm not.
Don't jinx Garrett Mitchell by saying anything about his health.
I like Garrett Mitchell. He's fun to watch so far this season.
Stop talking about him. Josh, don't jinx this. I swear if something happens tonight, I'm blaming you for it. Absolutely am going to blame you. Coming up next, we're going to switch gears. Really, really switch gears. Charlie brought up something about fantasy sports that I was not aware of. This is not going to be a, hey, give me your lineup questions for fantasy baseball. It's not that. We're not going to talk about fantasy football and take questions on that either. It's just a general question about fantasy sports that we're going to get into coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Don't forget about my fine folks over there at Wendy's. If your kids love the Minions like mine do, you are going to want to go to Wendy's. The Minions really wanted to impress their new big boss, Wendy's, so they cooked up some fun chaos for the fans. Say hello to the Minions and Monsters meal featuring one of 4 unique collectibles, new Banana Frosty Swirl, your choice of a Big Bacon Classic or spicy chicken sandwich, plus a small fry. It's time to go bananas over this exclusive Wendy's experience, limited time only. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie using other side of the glass. Charlie sounds of the day still to come. Looking forward to hearing what Charlie's got for today. But Charlie came to me with something interesting prior to the show started because, you know, fantasy football obviously is huge. That is the number one fantasy sports league by far in the country. Now, I don't know factually if the next statement I'm about to make is correct, but I believe fantasy baseball is probably 2. And then between basketball and hockey and soccer and golf and all of that, I don't know where the rest of it all stacks up behind those first 2. But it's the NFL by a large margin, then baseball probably, and then everything else is how it stacks up. Now, we have something new coming to our world. What do we have, Charlie?
So we have 2 different new fantasy football options for you to partake in this fall. First, coming from Yahoo Sports, this was announced earlier today that they are bringing back college fantasy football.
Oh.
So that's going to be with the Power 4 conferences. So you're not going to be able to dive into like the mid-majors and stuff like that, but you should have plenty of fun with just the Power 4 for sure. Going through that, the scoring is a little bit different for Yahoo. So like it's 3 points for touchdown scored of any type, so it doesn't matter. Everything's a little bit lower with the scoring, just less games throughout the season. Kind of evens out that way, but should be a lot of fun. This is something that a lot of people that I've noticed on Twitter, the reaction to this news that Yahoo Sports dropped is that everybody's super excited about this. It's something that people have done in the past that they're starting to bring back and try to popularize again.
Are we drafting Badgers?
Why not?
No, I don't think I'm drafting Badgers.
You don't trust Abu Sama? Colton Joseph?
Maybe.
I think those 2 guys, both of them could be potential options.
There's no chance.
Eugene Hilton Jr. breakout season? Come on.
No. The running back, yes. The transfer running back that you said, yes. I'll take him. Joseph, no, I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole. Fickle hasn't had a healthy starting quarterback yet. Well, you're telling me I'm going to risk my college football season on the knucklehead at Wisconsin?
Supposed to be. This is the most excited I think anybody's been in a while for one of these transfer quarterbacks.
Tell me something, Charlie. What's this dude's strength?
His legs.
That means he's going to be running forward
or side to side
and
maybe.
Potentially getting hit.
Yeah.
Nope, I passed. I'm not touching him. No, hope he stays healthy, but I'm not going to take him into college football, fantasy football.
I think I kind of want to just draft an entire team of Badgers and just see like what their like final score ends up being at the end of the year.
No. Speaking of the Badgers, real quick, did you see the jerseys they're wearing against Notre Dame?
I don't think I like them. I don't think I do.
Did you have an initial first thought or no? Because I did.
I would say, oh, that was shiny. That's what I saw when I saw the numbers reflecting back at me.
And I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. We have the Wisconsin Bearcats. He essentially.
No, I didn't think that.
Oh, my God, yes. They look like Cincinnati Bearcat uniforms. Oh, by the way, he was the coach. They look like Cincinnati uniforms. Red, they got the black stripes. No, pass. I think they're horrible.
I don't like the reflectiveness of the logo and the numbers that they have on it, like the shiny. That's a little weird to me.
They're all red. No, I don't like them.
Yeah, and like people are saying it's black, the numbers in the logo. It's not. When you see it in the video that they posted of it, you can see that they're reflecting. It's completely chrome. It looks weird. I don't hate it. Like I want to see it on the field. I want to see what they look like on the field with that. I think they might look kind of good.
Now again, if they beat Notre Dame, I'll say wear them all year, even though I don't like them. I'll say wear them all year if you win, right? Just like the Wisconsin Connect jerseys for the Brewers, they lost those first couple of games. Everybody's like, can we please stop wearing these?
Well, every time miss pitches, you better be wearing the Wisconsin Connect jerseys. That works out.
Regardless of what jersey they're wearing, it doesn't matter when the miss pitches. So that's one of the fantasy leagues. What's the other one?
The other one was announced yesterday by ESPN in their fantasy football kind of conglomerate that they got going on over there. They're starting a new league called Knockout Leagues where teams each week, the worst scoring team in the league, you don't play against one person, you just play against everybody in the league, but the low scoring team each league gets dropped from the league every week. Their players go into a overall pool of free agents, and every other team then gets to bid on those players that are added to the pool of free agents. So that one could be a lot of fun. That one kind of has you paying attention a little closer every week. I think that's going to be a good time.
Have you ever done one of those bidding leagues where the draft is bidding, everybody gets the same amount of money, and then you have to bid? Go do it. I mean, you can do fantasy baseball drafts still probably. Go do one of those leagues where you bid and you have a salary cap, and then you have to determine how you're going to spend your money. And you're bidding against everybody else as well, and they also have to save their money. And then by the end of the draft, everybody's just making $1 bids, and hopefully they're the only person bidding on said player, because those that have $2 or $3 and have a hole left are going to get whoever they want at the end. It is completely different. And in my opinion, it is way more difficult to do than a standard snake draft whether it be baseball or football or basketball, anything where you're bidding on players, like you're saying, that makes it tough. And in those leagues where you have salary attached to players, that's how free agency works, right? So then you have another pool of money that you can use for free agency throughout the entire year. So think about that in baseball. You have 6 months, somebody goes down, and normally it's a blind bid. So you submit to the website, okay, I'm bidding $10, but you have no idea if anybody else is bidding on it or what they're bidding. And then it comes out the next day, and the winner is this for $12. It's this, or you're the winner for 10. And you're like, did I bid against myself? Did anybody else bid on this? That is torture. I did that one year, and I swore to God, I will never, ever do it again.
That would suck if you were in a league with like 8 other people that didn't really know what they're doing, and then you had one other person, let's say it's a 10-man league, and he knows what he's doing. You're just bidding with that one person constantly, and they're constantly beating you out.
I was the idiot that walked into the league of established players. I filled in for a guy, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure this out as best I can. You know, and you're doing the mock drafts leading up to it, and you're trying to get yourself ready, but it's not the same thing. Like, that is so.
Yeah, no, that sounds scary. I'm more of a very casual fantasy sports player, fantasy football too. Like, even though I look at my roster every week, I go through, it's kind of like head in there Sunday morning, head in there Saturday afternoon, right after all the injury stuff comes out, set your lineup, and then you're good to go. Like, I pay attention, but I'm not going to touch my team until then.
For me, leading up to a draft, could be a basketball fantasy basketball draft, a fantasy baseball draft, fantasy football draft. I like to mock draft for 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead of time and really get an idea of a strategy down and going from different positions, because a lot of times you don't know what position you are, going from different positions and trying to figure out the best strategy, especially in baseball where you have outfielders, pitchers, infielders, all this other stuff, and just seeing how the board normally falls. Like this year, I got done with my draft this year, and everybody's like, hey, how did you think you did? And normally you're like, it was okay. Or, yeah, I screwed that up, whatever. I got done with that draft, and I literally said, that is the best fantasy baseball draft I've ever done in my life. Like, that was amazing.
I don't know. I don't do that much preparation. I think like most fantasy drafts, I come out of going, yeah, I think I did pretty good. And I go and do like the rating thing on one of the websites. Like, I think there's the football nerds
crap.
and stuff.
That's just how they have it set up themselves in their draft.
And then they tell me I have like a bad team or something. Yeah, I don't believe you. I never believe it. Like, I always feel like I have a good team coming out of the draft. I don't do all that extra preparation. Yep. I also think I tend to be in leagues with people that I know more about football than, and then that makes me just kind of automatically better overall. So I have a better knowledge. So I don't really need to go through, I guess, the mock drafts, because I just know those people are going to take chalk, and then I'll just take whatever I want.
Win the league like every year.
I tend to be in the playoffs for sure, and then tend to be a champion. Like, my girlfriend, her family had a league last year, and my girlfriend drafted our team, and then I ran the team afterwards.
That's right. Yeah,
and then we still ended up winning because I don't know.
So you're like Peacock was. Like,
yeah, kind of.
I've won so many fantasy leagues, and then Charlie gets in the league.
In the Little League baseball leagues, Sparky, and I'm hitting home runs, baby.
Charlie comes to me. He's like, man, dude's in this league, man. Stop.
That league was stupid too. I ended up losing in the conference finals.
Right.
That made me so angry.
I was like, Peacock, come on, man. Like, come on, dude. What are we talking about? Got some text messages in from early before we get to Charlie Sounds of the day. We were talking about youth baseball, tryouts, and all the stuff going on right now at this time of year and how much I absolutely despise it. And I was saying it should start in like May and go into like August. That's where it should go. From the 414, youth football starts in 3 weeks. Baseball can end where it currently does. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, if you have somebody that's playing both those sports, or basketball and baseball do not mesh. Like, that's not going to be a thing. Spring soccer and baseball, that's not a thing. My 10-year-old would love to be playing soccer. I was like, it doesn't work. Like, you have to pick one or the other. And he had to give up soccer in order to play the other one around. Another one coming in from Steve in Germantown. Tryouts for next year is on Sunday. Fall ball starts in 4 weeks. Ugh. And then he says, you're right about the difference in Little League and tryout and travel ball, but you also skipped over the fact that kids should play Little League and have fun. That should take priority over travel ball until about age 15. Steve, I will disagree with you. I don't want you to text me back and swear at me, but we're just going to disagree on this one. Coming from the aspect of, I have a 19-year-old that went through this once already. And the 19-year-old didn't attempt travel ball until like he was 11. And it was too late because he was so far behind everybody else And a lot of the times, by the time you get to 11 and 12, a lot of these teams, they're filled with, say the roster is 12, they're filled with like 8 or 9, 10 guys, and they're only looking to fill 2 bench spots on the back end of the bench. That kid may play a couple innings a game and maybe play a little bit of defense, but isn't going to be in any big situations if they can help it. And you're screwed. Like, you almost at this point have to get in earlier than that. You just do. And if you can afford it, if you can't afford it, then by all means, yes, play Little League till you're 15. When my kid got to freshman year of going into his freshman year of high school, that tryout to where the city leagues, right, they stop because they don't go into high school because they're feeder systems to the high school team, right? So now those stop. That tryout year is the absolute worst because you have more kids than you've ever seen trying out for all these academies that go through high school. We did one at Prospects, PTA in Franklin, and it was going into that year. He had already got an offer because he had been there to come back and stay. So he already accepted. And they're like, okay, we want you to come to tryouts and just be a part of it, family, whatever. Okay, fine. So we're there. Charlie, there had to be 125 kids at least that were there. They were from all over Northern Illinois coming up, trying to play travel ball up in Wisconsin in the summertime. I could not believe all the kids. And at that point, I was like, yeah, no, like you have to be in a better position at that point. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to break in. And now, again, there's way more academies now than there was then. Like back then, New Berlin Focus, which is another new one, they weren't around. Now they started up a few years ago and now they're growing and building and they get a new facility and all of that. So now they're chipping away and getting into that. But 5-6 years ago, there weren't as many academies as there are now.
No. And I think even at that high school level too, the other problem you run into is this is something I ran into playing Little League my entire life through middle school, all the way through 8th grade. And then freshman year comes around and I want to try out for the high school baseball team because I've been playing Little League.
Right.
And all these kids that are trying out for the high school baseball team are all the kids that have been playing travel ball and stuff. So I'm nowhere near the level that they're at. Not that I was that good at baseball in the first place. There probably was a very low chance, but like to make the freshman team, there was still a really high threshold to get to that point. If you're not good enough and you're not prepared enough
Correct.
for that, like really out of the major sports, the only one that's accessible all the time for anyone is football. And then football is also just one of the most dangerous and one of the hardest to actually get to play. Once you get on the team, there's 40 kids that sit on the sideline for a majority of the season. So even then, when you get to be on the team, you don't always get to play. It's really hard to get into these sports later on in life.
No question. Charlie using over there, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here. And speaking of later on in life, as you go forward and you're looking for a college, no problem. I got you. You can go to this place, Bryan and Stratton College in Wauwatosa, junior college, right? You can compete in the NJCAA Division II athletics with more than 20 men's and women's teams to choose from. Keep playing the sport you love while earning your associate degree in business, healthcare, criminal justice, or digital marketing. Athletic scholarships available for those who qualify. Visit bryanstratton.edu and discover how Bryan and Stratton College is built different for you. They're it. Junior college wise, this is it here in Wisconsin, right? So if you're in Wausau, Duluth, Superior, Green Bay, Madison, whatever the case may be, and you're looking for like that school of, man, I know I can get to Division I. I thought I was there. I'm not getting the offers that I want. Then you know what you do? You go that route. You go that route to play baseball or basketball. Track and field athletes are looking for right now at Broughton and Stratton. You go there for a couple of years, and then if you're good there, then you get that opportunity to potentially go to Division I for the last 2 years of college.
Well, and even if you're not an inspiring D1 athlete, if you just want to go and continue your sport,
Yes.
but at a university that fits you a little better than some of these bigger ones, go to Bryan and Stratton and go and compete and still be that athlete that you want to be.
No doubt about it. bryanstratton.edu. Check it out today. You'll be glad that you did. Charlie, Sounds of the Day coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, proudly outfitted by Burgard Sporting Goods, our official apparel partner. Outfit your team or company with custom apparel today at BSG1881.com, BSG1881.com. It is that time to get to our guy, Charlie.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, where to first?
Over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about Giannis being traded to the Miami Heat and the impact he had on the city of Milwaukee and on the Milwaukee Bucks, but we haven't been talking about the other name that was in that trade, Bobby Portis, who also had a big impact on the city of Milwaukee and on the Milwaukee Bucks. This is Bobby Portis discussing being traded to Miami and what playing for the Bucks meant to him.
I was actually in Miami at the time with my fam. We were just hanging out, got on a boat, chilling, got back to the house that night, and we just got back from dinner. Not even like 9 minutes. And then John called me. I'm like, oh, shoot, what John called me for? John never called me. You know what I'm saying? And then it happened. Like, while we was on the phone, the news broke. So it's been a crazy 2 weeks, I would say.
You're the mayor of Milwaukee for a reason. What's the city meant to you?
It's meant the world to me. Blue-collar city that works hard. I look at myself like I'm one of them. Small town kid from Arkansas. My population where I'm from, probably 200,000, 300,000, similar to here, right? So, small town kid that works hard for everything he has, and super fortunate to get in this position to be a Buck, especially when my career was in super need of showing that I can impact winning. So it was great that I was able to be a part of this great franchise. And obviously, you don't want things to end, but you have to understand the circumstances that's at hand.
Life-changing. That's what Milwaukee was for Bobby Portis, because Bobby Portis was not looked upon to be that dude between Chicago and what he did there in his time in the NBA. He just wasn't this guy. And because of, and I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, but because of Mike Budenholzer, he was put on the map and became who he is. And because of who he is why Giannis brought him with him. Mm-hmm. And don't think it's anything other than Giannis bringing him with him. I promise you.
And he's an important role player for any team that has Giannis. I think that's a big piece.
Giannis doesn't want to go by himself. Giannis doesn't want to go by himself.
And he could have taken Thanasis if he just wanted to take somebody like that. Bobby Portis has value to him too.
Pat Riley's not an idiot. So you take him, Bobby Portis, with him, and as Bobby Portis pointed out, which I guess I didn't realize, but him and Wiggins were played AU All-Star team together, or no, McDonald's All-American, I think it was.
Yeah.
So he knows him. He knows Bam, obviously. Obviously, he knows Giannis. So he's not going into the situation completely not knowing anybody, but he doesn't know everybody. And as Portis pointed out, man, you get traded to a team and you don't know anybody, that makes it really rough going into a locker room where you don't know anybody. In this situation, going with a teammate helps, and then knowing another player or two, and then he played for Spoelstra with Team USA a couple of years ago, so he knows Spo as well. So it makes things a lot easier for Portis. Now, how they use Portis, that's what I want to see when he gets to Miami.
Well, and I think, again, he's so talented. I wish him the best. Are you more feeling like you cheer for Bobby Portis over Giannis? Like, if just Bobby Portis went to a random team, would you cheer for him to win and be successful, and for that team to win if they were in the finals or something?
No. What is it with you people? I don't understand. At what point did I ever say, yeah, if a player's not on my favorite team, I'm going to root for him somewhere else? Have I ever said that?
No.
Okay, you've been with me for 2 years.
I just thought maybe it would change for some players like Bobby Portis, who is the mayor of Milwaukee, like they brought up.
No, I love Bobby Portis. I ain't rooting for Bobby Portis in another uniform. You're not on my team. Again, now listen, I've been listening to Brandon Snide go off on Giannis daily, right, on 9 to noon, and fighting with Rami every day, and John Kuhn just kind of stays out of it and laughs and listens to the nonsense going back and forth. I am closer to Brandon Snide's take than I am Rami's take on this. The difference for me is there's no chance I'm ever booing that dude. Like, no, not booing him, not burning a jersey, not doing any of that stuff. Will I cheer for him in another uniform? No. You all may stand up and cheer. I'm probably just going to sit down and sip on my
They're
soda.
not playing the Bucks.
Right. I'm going to sit. No, but that's when you're going to see him. You're going to see him in a Heat
you're
uniform
gonna watch
playing
again,
against the Bucks.
If the Miami Heat make it to an NBA championship and it's not against the Bucks, obviously, because they're in the same conference, like, I'm going to cheer for him.
No.
I don't know. I'm going to cheer for him over Jokic if they're playing the Nuggets in the finals. Yeah.
I'm not cheering for either team in the finals. I don't even think I'll even care to watch the finals. It won't matter to me who wins that. I don't care. Why would I care?
Because, like, I don't know, you just like basketball. You're a basketball fan. He's one of the greatest players of all time that played for your city and for your franchise. Like, you want to root on.
There's an exception to every rule, okay? So my exception to the rule would be if it's them against Halliburton, then yes, I'll root for the Heat because I cannot stand Halliburton. So then I would get down with Giannis in Miami to beat Halliburton. Outside of that, I don't see outside of Indiana, I don't see myself rooting for Miami.
So hate's the only thing that's going to make you want to root for anybody else. That's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't be jealous.
Don't
be jealous.
Sad.
Don't be jealous. Gritty Gold update coming up next. Mark Murphy was on the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame show last night as the induction ceremony. He led off the show with Tommy Wirtz and Mark Cass. We'll hear cuts from him and what he had to say yesterday. Coming up next, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Four o'clock hour. Welcome in. 1 hour until you hear a big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz coming up from 5 until 6:30. Yes, they're still playing in St. Louis, and yes, they're still playing the Cardinals. Good news is they go to Pittsburgh this weekend. Rain in the forecast for tomorrow. Rain in the forecast for Saturday. And then Sunday looks like the only day not scheduled for rain. So there could be rain delays, cancellations on Friday and Saturday for this Brewers-Pirates games. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Maybe they'll have a 6-game series against Pittsburgh later in the year.
Let's hope not. Because the odds of them getting all of those done in a series are slim to none at this point with how much it rains in Pittsburgh. Coming up in the second segment of the show, we're going to go back to the Brewers and talk about a post that I saw the other day that I found very, very entertaining. Talking about, does it really matter about that one seed? Does it really matter about having a better record than everybody in the National League come playoff time? Because last year they had the best record. They were the one, and they still lost to the Dodgers. And does the opinion change now looking at the teams and where everybody's kind of slotted as of now? Now, again, things can change, right? The Braves could lose the lead in the East. Philly could end up winning the East. The wild card teams could dramatically change between now and the end of the season. But just kind of looking at how it is now, does that one seed even matter as much? So we'll dive into that coming up at 4:20. And then things that Sparky missed. We did not talk at all about John Horst and the comments he made yesterday to the assembled media on a phone or Zoom or whatever it was yesterday. So we'll dive into John Horst, Bucks GM comments coming up at the end of the show. But it is 4 o'clock, which means it's time for this.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, so we're going to go right back to the show last night, the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame induction show where they were going in. Tommy Wirtz is just sitting in here with nothing to do. She must just grab a microphone. You're just going to sit there anyhow. Hey, your thoughts on doing that show last night, you and Mark Katz from 4:30 to 5:30. Again, if you're looking for the Braun interview, you can go to Best Brewers Coverage, wherever you download your favorite podcast at, or go to wisportsradio.com. Same thing with Mark Murphy. Go to the Best Packers Coverage, wherever you download podcasts at, or simply go to wisportsradio.com. Here, either one of those interviews. Your thoughts on that all going on last night?
So this is the second Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame I've gotten to kind of be a part of with Mason going in last year with Joe Thomas and Ernie Johnson.
That was amazing.
It was an awesome event.
Other than sitting next to Thunder.
But yesterday, the entire time, the only thought I could have was, why the hell am I here? Like, what am I doing?
They requested you.
I know. Like,
that's
what?
Why.
Of all people, like, it was me.
You.
I mean, I got to talk with Mark Murphy, who I'm sure is coming up right here in this segment, and he was amazing. And not even just talk to Mark Murphy was just hanging around. Like, we were there early enough, and he was just hanging out. So I actually got to, shoot around with Mark Murphy. It wasn't even just, it's business and interview and whatever, and we're throwing jabs at Crosby together and just hanging out, whatever it was. And then I got to meet a couple other I actually had almost no idea what was going to happen going into this thing.
No, because we weren't given any guidance as far as how, there wasn't here, Tommy, here's the guest order. Here's who we're talking to. You literally had no idea. You sat down and didn't know if you were going to get Murphy. Braun didn't know how this was going to
No
play.
idea. I got to hold an Olympic gold medal yesterday. That was ridiculous. That is seriously one of the more, it's heavy. It's so heavy. I had no idea.
Didn't the speed skater have 3 of them on?
Yeah, Jordan Stolz had 3 of them on. Caroline Harvey, UW women's hockey and gold medalist now.
Number 1 pick in the
and then,
PWHL
obviously getting to talk to Brian Braun, where it was like, that's a guy I grew up idolizing. Everyone has reenacted. I can't believe the one question I was so mad it spaced on me. the batting stance. How did I not ask him about his batting stance? Where I feel like everyone, mine and Charlie's age, are emulating Ryan Braun's batting stance. So the event was amazing. We ended up going along with it because I just figured got to give it its time. And if we were interviewing Ryan Braun while it was overlapping the leadoff show, I mean, it's still Brewers coverage, right?
Sure.
And but Mark Murphy that was amazing. It was a great interview. It felt friendly the entire time. And I've gotten to talk to him a couple of times now, and he remembered me. So that was also ridiculous. Like what Mark Murphy has zero business knowing who I am. And now, yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you." Yeah,
and he does not carry $70,000 in a bag sitting in the back of his car like Charles Oakley.
You know what? You were giving me a lot of content with him, just being like, this guy never shuts up or whatever on the other side, and he's like pointing at you while he sees you on the screen. So I was actually maybe razzing you with Mark Murphy. That did not have that on the bingo card yesterday.
I don't remember what I did to potentially make him mad at some point.
Well, maybe
but then he stopped coming on the show. Back when we were doing the big show, I don't remember what it was. Something. I don't think we got him on again after that. Super nice guy.
This guy drafted Derek Sherrod.
No, I've never gone at. No, he didn't draft him. That's not his fault. But again, he's super nice, super laid back. Like literally, when you start talking about a dude that you'd want to go have a drink with, that guy.
He was
because
he will, the answer from yesterday,
and he will talk unfiltered and just tell you whatever you want to know.
Stories on stories on stories. Yeah, he was awesome. We got to lead off the show with him yesterday. He was great.
And this is Mark Murphy talking about the moment that means the most to him in his career.
Well, obviously winning the Super Bowl. I mean, it's hard to beat that, but to end my tenure with the draft, and having the draft and being able to announce the last pick, it was pretty special.
Right.
Yeah. And and then you and I have talked about it. We lobbied the league for many years once they decided to take the draft on the road.
Yeah.
What about Green Bay? I think it'd be great with our history and tradition and Lambeau Field. And what we kept hearing from the league was, it's a small market. This is a big event. So they took a chance, I think, in bringing the draft to Green Bay. But boy, did it pay off.
The payoff was pretty good.
Phenomenal. Second largest crowd ever, and in the smallest market by far. And we had people staying all over the state.
Can I just point out something else that I never really mentioned on the air and made fun of Tommy about?
Oh, what this time?
There is. So he's got his eye roll that you see on the video when you watch Tommy that he does all the time. But the other thing,
it wasn't on video, but I felt it that time.
The other thing that he does, that whole thing. Yes, that.
Yeah.
Yes. I heard you do it with Mark, and I was like, yep, there it is. We know Tommy's listening. We know Tommy's paying attention. The draft pick there by Murphy, taking Golden, and literally everybody knowing that it was going to be a wide receiver when he set it up. It was picture perfect. Like, you could not have written a movie script better than the way that Mark Murphy delivered that pick, Tommy.
Yeah, I think I say in there, like, chills. I literally get chills thinking about it, knowing that, again, I know exactly what I was doing that night because it was me and Charlie hanging out here doing the draft show, and I was just spitballing as the picks being named.
That was a short draft show, wasn't it?
That was I think we were 4 hours deep when that pick happened.
It was about to pass out.
That was, and there was such a great contrast because Charlie, they had just drafted Colston Loveland, and Charlie's like, why are we drafting a tight end for the Bears?
Happy.
And meanwhile, everyone is saying, like, this is the year. This is the deepest wide receiver class. There's top 30 visits of all these guys, and Mark Murphy's going out with a bang. They're in Green Bay, and it's the most attended draft ever at the time. Like, go ahead. And I love how he brings up the point of Packers fans are so well informed, and that's something I always bring up on shows, is just the everyday sports fan knows so much more today, and it will tomorrow, right? Like, it just forever keeps growing. And for Murphy to set it up so perfectly to be like, for the first time, everyone knew from that, right there, that moment. And I know Charlie, even as a Bears guy, still was like, that's an awesome moment.
Had my arms up in the air.
There.
That was awesome,
Electric stuff.
And perfect for TV.
Yeah,
and you were in Green Bay when it happened and all of that. Like, it could not have been any better.
Now, Matthew Golden could have scored a touchdown during the regular season, and that would have helped.
Details.
But he got one. He got one in the postseason. He's back.
This was really good too. Murphy on if winning a Super Bowl as a CEO means more than winning one as a player.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, the NFL is a lot different now than it was in 19. It was a bigger deal.
Sure.
But I think in my role as a CEO and president, I now have a much greater appreciation of how difficult it is to get in the playoffs and to win games and to win the Super Bowl. And, in 1982, I mean, it was great. The Redskins were a great team, but that was a crazy year because it was a strike year.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. So when I was very involved, I was a Redskins player rep. I was on the bargaining committee. I was vice president of the union, and I was nonstop dealing with the negotiations and the end of the strike, and it was just like a whirlwind. And I think they called it Super Bowl tournament because they had more teams in the playoffs. So the Redskins, we were the number one seed. We had the best record in the NFC. We had 3 straight home games in the playoffs. Last one was against the Dallas Cowboys, our arch rivals. And I'll never forget the RFK Stadium fans saying, "We want Dallas," chanting in the stadium right before the game started. It still gives me chills thinking about it. Ended up beating Dallas. And then and the other thing that was really nice was the Super Bowl was the next week. Normally it's 2 weeks. So we played right away. And it was more like a normal routine. I think sometimes with that extra week, it makes it a little more difficult, I think, to have a really good game.
I obviously never played in the National Football League. Definitely never been a CEO in the National Football League. But just talking to athletes like I have over the course of my life, there is just no way I believe that winning a Super Bowl as a player is not a bigger deal than winning one as a GM or a coach or a CEO. I don't see how that's possible unless you're like riding the bench and you're not playing. Like you're the third string tackle and now you're the CEO, GM. Then that's different because now you really are having an impact where maybe in that instance as a player, you had no impact. You just got to ride the coattails of everybody else to get a ring. Fine. But if you're the starting left tackle for a Super Bowl winning team or the starting quarterback, don't come at me with, it's more important as a CEO or as a coach. No, it's not, dude.
Well, does storyline matter at all in those situations? So, like, if he's on the Patriots and they win 6 Super Bowls and it's the 6th one, it doesn't matter as much.
Well, you cheated.
Well, okay, whatever, Sparky. Forget about the
You said the Patriots. That's cheating.
They just won a lot of Super Bowls.
Pick a team that don't cheat.
Chiefs. Sure. He's on the Chiefs and wins a bunch of Super Bowls, and then he becomes the CEO of the Jets and has to take them from the bottom to something, and it happens in 3 years, and he wins the Super Bowl with the Jets in the 3rd year. That's got to mean a lot versus your 3rd Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that if you've won several rings as a player,
there's
whatever.
Be something to your brainchild coming to work too, right? Like that's got to mean so. If you are, I don't know how much.
In this case, the Jordan Love deal is attached to him, and Aaron Rodgers is attached to him.
Sure,
yeah. I mean, how many guys that ran organizations had 2 monumental Hall of Fame quarterback moves in one tenure? I bet you nobody would be my guess other than Mark Murphy. I bet you he's the only one in professional sports that's navigated 2 Hall of Famers leaving the franchise and finding, we don't know what Jordan Love's going to be, but finding a good quarterback afterwards.
Well, maybe San Francisco. Did Garcia kind of take over for Young? What was the in-between there?
No, it was Garcia.
Okay, so I mean, like kind of the similar story, I
Yeah.
guess, but they didn't win anything after with Garcia
and Young
either.
was old by the time he got to San Francisco. They didn't draft Young.
Right. Bucks did.
Where Murphy was involved in all of this. So that, to me, I mean, the craziness of the Favre Rodgers thing, Bob Harlan was like stressing out about how bad the whole thing was playing out PR-wise and everything else, I think. But it ended up, working out. And then everybody's holding up signs, trade Rodgers, screw Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers hadn't done anything to anybody deserve any of this hate. There's little kids holding up poster board signs on the side of training camp. It got so ugly. It was bad.
We've had a lot of this conversation, it feels like, with Giannis and what has come down with the Bucks organization now during this time. And
it's not
it's
anything
just so
like that.
not like the Brett Favre situation at all. And even Rodgers leaving, I think the Giannis situation is more relatable to Favre than Rodgers leaving is to Favre. Like, it doesn't feel like there was any divide or like the same level of loyalty to a player when you compare it in that way. But Favre is in a league of his own.
So, I mean, if you bring this up, my counter to that is there's a couple of differences. One, the Bucs organization actually did everything in their power to try to win a championship.
Sure.
The Packers never did that for the other two.
Okay.
So that's a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
The second difference is the other two, the quarterbacks, were always front-facing on how they felt on things.
Yeah.
This dude wasn't.
Rodgers less than Favre.
This dude was saying one thing publicly, and then behind the scenes, apparently, him and his agents were saying something completely different.
Right.
They weren't doing that. Rodgers had something to say. He's going to say it on McAfee or whatever he was going to say. Favre, that was just all out in public.
The whole time. And I think that Rodgers, McAfee is a good point where he was pretty transparent in that way, but it felt like that had run its course.
People were just tired of just having him on all the time and always being talking about something. And it wasn't even he was creating drama about football drama. It was drama about just life in general. Then everybody was coming in asking him questions that weren't even related to football.
And do you think that 15 years later, like, people had just, like, they're not going to do this again with a quarterback? That was more or less like, that's why you were exhausted of Aaron Rodgers. Is like, we just did this last time with a quarterback of Favre.
Maybe.
Like that. I've never really thought of the aftershock, I guess, of that's why they weren't going to get into another sort of dispute in the same way. And, you know, Murphy also, they brought up another point of him. Cass believes he's the only person to win a Super Bowl as a player and as a president of an organization.
That I don't know.
Elway kind of was, I think Elway was vice president of football operations or something, but being the highest ranked Packer employee and being a player, like the highest ranked employee in an organization, as well as a player, Murphy is believed to be the only one.
Oh, that's good stuff. Here's another clip from Mark Murphy last night, the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We did a show last night from 4:30 to 5:30, and we're playing some of the clips back from it from Mark Murphy. Again, Best Packers coverage page. If you're looking for it on your podcast, wherever you download your favorite podcast, whether it's Odyssey, iHeart, whatever the case may be, or at wisportsradio.com. That's always the easiest way to find everything. Here's Mark Murphy talking about who helped him get to where he is now.
There's so many people. I mean, Ed Policy has been great. Paul Baniel, Craig Benzel, there have been people that are here. So many Packer employees have done such a great, and, Bob Harlan left the organization in great shape for me. And, hopefully I've done the same for Ed, but it's such a unique organization. Well, and the other thing is the ownership structure and the executive committee and all the people in the community that are on our board. And, it's sometimes it's a lot to deal with. It's kind of like being the president of a college where you have a board of trustees, but it works well. And obviously the Packers have had consistent success.
I will say that I would have thought he would have went other places with that answer. I get the hat tip nod to people there in Green Bay, but he came from Northwestern. I would have thought maybe something there from his playing days in Washington. He played for Gibbs, right? He played for Joe Gibbs.
Right, yeah.
You would have thought maybe Joe Gibbs gets a head nod or something like that with leadership skills and all that. And he didn't really. He just kind of stayed right there in Green Bay and kept it at home, Charlie.
He's a pro. He knows that he's at the WIA Hall of Fame and that you got to talk about the Wisconsin people that have brought you there to this point. I think that's the main reason. And if you gave him an hour to do an interview, he'd go through every single person, be able to give love to all those people you were talking about. But in the setting, you just talk about the Wisconsin guys.
Right. And that's exactly what he chose to do. Here's one last one. This one talking about USA flag football. Who asked this one?
That was me.
You asked about flag football.
I asked him about, he started bringing it up because I was talking about what are you doing in retirement, and apparently he's still very involved in USA flag football. And then I eventually asked him who he would like to see in the NFL play flag football.
There we go. Murphy on USA flag football.
Yeah, I'm very involved still with USA football, which is one of the things that's really exciting there is with the Olympics coming up in 2028, both men and women's flag football will be Olympic sports. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great, and it's really going to be.
Are you all for the NFL players playing in it?
Well, I was going to say
Okay.
right. Yes. There are some limitations. I think only one player per team, but that's going to be a fascinating process to see how that team is because there's only 10 players on the.
All right, give me one player right now you'd want to see on USA Football.
Oh, that's Jason. No, Jordan Love.
Okay. All right.
I think
Jordan would probably love that too.
That would be
Think
great.
about that, being able to represent your country.
Well, that's what, and I think a lot of players have said, gosh, it was such a unique opportunity to participate in the Olympics. And
Right.
So, but I started saying that's going to be a really difficult decision on who makes the team. And because flag football, having watched it, I went out and watched, some of the tournaments out at, and it's a different game than the NFL. And the players, the receivers particularly, are smaller and quicker. It's a smaller field, and quickness is much more important than straight out speed.
There is zero chance, and I'm going to repeat this right now, zero chance that I will ever support Jordan Love playing on this stupid USA flag football team. Zero. You understand me? Zero. You all get mad about Giannis playing for his country, trying to get to and be in the Olympics and win a medal. That makes you mad. You all better come with the same energy, if not more energy, if Jordan Love is playing flag football. We saw.
What about
Edwards,
Marshawn Lloyd?
I can't remember Edwards' first
You're not
name.
allowed to say his name.
Edwards, the running back from the Patriots, gets hurt in a beach volleyball thing and ruins his career playing beach volleyball in some NFL thing that they had years ago. And now you're telling me that we're going to let NFL players play flag football while they're still in the league? Man, you want retired guys to go play? Go ahead. You want UFL players to go play? Go ahead. There is no chance if I am an owner or a GM or a president of a team that I'm like, oh, great idea, Mark. Let's have my star player potentially go ruin his knee by going out there and playing meaningless flag football. I would be livid if Jordan Love played.
Yeah, now
football.
Charlie, would you be okay with Caleb Williams playing in this?
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
Charlie said, yeah, sure. Get out of here.
I'm fine with this.
No way.
I'm fine with it. Yeah. What? This feels like
you haven't had a quarterback in 100 years. Now you might have one. Go play flag football.
Oh, and this all like knees going everywhere, shiftiness, elusive. Like that's just an ACL waiting to happen.
Yes.
Yeah, but also it'd be fun, and it's no contact.
Would be fun,
and it's no contact, and you're representing your country, which we're always so supportive of every other player when they're representing their country in other sports.
Charlie, how many times? Charlie's argument was, "Oh, it's no contact." How many times have you seen a player go down with nobody around him and blow out a knee?
Yeah, it happens, but it's going to happen regular season too. Like if that's the case, if a player's going down like that, that means their tendons and their knee is already weak in the first place. Like it's going to happen at some point for that type of player if they don't get that checked out in the first place.
Okay, now Sparky, are you okay? Are you in support of Caleb Williams playing in the USA flag football?
Absolutely. Yeah, Luther Burden can play. Odunze can play. They all can play. They can have a Chicago
The Bears
team.
should be the USA flag football team.
Ben Johnson should really start studying up on what offense to run for USA flag football. Yeah,
I'll cheer for him. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Go win us a medal, kid.
Can I just say this? If it was like the Bears representing Team USA in a flag football game, are we rooting for them?
Ooh, good
Because
question.
it's got the USA.
Well, you guys don't care though. You're not allowed to root for anybody because you guys don't care about USA flag football.
No, I know that. But I'm just saying, because it's USA flag, I would not care and I would not watch. But I'm just saying, like, as a Packer fan, if it was Odunze, Burden, Caleb Williams all on Team USA playing,
wow,
are you rooting for them?
That's a great question. I would say you're like not telling you how to fan this, but I would say you're allowed to root for it. But myself, I would be a hater the entire time. I would pull a Mitch Nellis and root for Canada.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't think I could root for him. I don't think I could. No.
That is a great question, man.
I don't.
If the entire USA flag football
We're
team,
Bears.
That's like, okay, World Baseball Classic. What if it was the Cubs?
For the U.S.?
Yeah.
We're going to lose.
Like, just imagine the entire team is all the Americans.
And the traitor is managing them? Oh, it's over.
Yeah, Jacob Mizrowski's the starting pitcher there for you, Sparky. Then you could really hate the team.
I would not allow him to go if the traitor or the hater.
He talked about how much he wanted to do it this past year.
I'm not letting Mizrowski go play for the traitor in the World Baseball Classic. No.
So you're just like already out on USA Baseball if Council is the manager.
The traitor's in charge?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not winning.
I mean, DeRosa did not impress by any means
DeRosa was
either.
doing TV. I don't even know how that happened. And I think DeRosa is awesome on TV. Like, if You start talking about baseball guys on TV who entertain you, who are knowledgeable and have, are good.
He's also trying.
DeRosa's like top 3.
He's also trying to trade Bryce Terang before the season even started because of it.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been the main defender of Skubal, the Brewers, though, too.
He has. He said it again yesterday. Didn't Thunder play it on your show today? Somebody played it today on one of the shows, Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, him talking about the Brewers should be the team that go and get Skubal.
Yes, that was
at this point.
Show, yes.
Right. So either way. And then there was his producer talking in his ear about they were going over how the Brewers had the number 1 farm system, top 9 prospects in the top 100. And the producer goes in his ear, that's not even with Andrew Fisher, who's not even in the top 100.
Did you hear Paul Wagner try to trade Andrew Fisher on the show 2 days ago? He's like, oh, yeah, you see Fisher mashing. Like, maybe you throw him into somewhere. I'm like, absolutely not, Paul. Please stop talking. Thank you.
No, I don't think I think Pena could get traded. I think that could happen. I don't think Fisher's getting traded.
I'm really curious to know what his value is across the league, knowing he's a top 20 guy. And my stock just keeps going lower and lower and lower on him right now.
On Fisher?
On Pena.
Oh.
And
we just had Sam Dykstra on from MILB and MLB Pipeline, and I brought up Fisher to him, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, Sparky. Like, his contract rate is really low, and if you play this forward and just go by what history says about players, his contract rate could be like in the 40s by the time he gets to Major League Baseball.
I'm saying...
And my point is, dude, he's hitting almost 300. Yeah, I can have a high contract rate, maybe like Sal Frelick, who's hitting 50 this month, or I could go with Andrew Fisher.
If Fisher
and
can,
let him hit.
I got into
Fisher
some
can
Twitter
learn how to
beef about
walk
it
too. That's going to be the other big thing.
Fisher taking more walks.
So if
I got into some Twitter beef about it and basically said, tell him to stop hitting home runs every day. Then just tell him if you want to hate on him, tell him to stop hitting home runs every day.
He's almost hitting 300. He's hitting like 298
He's got the
right
best
now.
OPS in minor league baseball.
Yes.
No minor leaguer, no level has a better OPS than him. You want to give up on that guy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No chance. And as far as Pena goes, Charlie and I were talking about this earlier too. He is the number 2 prospect in the number 1 farm system in baseball.
Yeah.
He is starting in the futures game with Madej.
Yeah.
On the starting infield.
Good point.
He has a lot of stock in him. Now, if there is some hidden thing wrong with his heart or something else, I promise you, word has already gotten around baseball that something's up.
Correct.
Right?
Completely
so everybody knows. I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying if there's something that we don't know about from the Brewers,
yes,
the way scouts all talk and everybody else, everybody in baseball already knows. So we'll go from there. But Pena's future in this organization, I don't see where it is.
Well, and when I was talking to Spencer Michaelis, he said he thinks he's going to move to the outfield.
He's a must follow on X.
Yeah, Spencer Michaelis, great
amazing
stuff. He had claimed that he thinks he's going to go to the outfield. That's how they're going to work all the. Because I had tweeted at him basically asking, how do you get all these guys into the infield in 2028 if we're looking down the line when you have a Fisher, a Burke, Adams, and listen Madej and Pena, Terang, whoever you want to go with from there. And he says he thinks Pena moves to the outfield.
I'll say it's Churio, Mitchell, and Adam Shefsky. And
Mitchell, Adam Shefsky.
Yep.
Okay.
And Lara is the 4th outfielder.
No Braylon Payne coming up there at any point?
I don't know how that works when they get here. He said 2028, so that's 2 years. I don't think Ragsdale and Payne will be here by that point.
No, I don't either.
Both are playing really well.
But then looking at the infield from there, like the infield's going to be amazing in 2 years. Oh my gosh. I'm kind of hoping there becomes some sort of salary cap floor, not for the betterment of baseball. The Brewers could ruin baseball if there's a salary cap or floor. There's a real chance. Like, do not let them.
The floor would really help.
Everyone.
If the floor, I mean, they came at the floor with like 169, 170. That's like $30 million more when the Brewers are on the payroll. So now you're going to force Milwaukee to spend $30 more million. Fine with me.
Yeah.
Because now you can really say, okay, now I can afford to give William Contreras an extension if I want, or now I can afford to give Madej the money that he wants if there is an issue with money right now and that over there, whatever it is. But you get around $30 million more to go sign guys to long-term deals. I like our odds of things turning out well.
What a green and gold update.
Is that what it was?
We were starting. It might have been me.
No, Sparky brought up Craig Counsell, and that's what it.
Yes, because we were talking about flag football,
that's
and
what derailed
I was a
Craig
dummy
Counsell
that brought up the Bears, and then that turned into
But that's a great question. Of would you root for the Bears if they were the USA flag football team?
Yeah, no, I can't do it.
I can't do it.
No. And Rami Makloff, who is like anti-Olympics and everything else and doesn't care about anything. Just because they put a flag on it, blah, blah, blah. You want to know what? I bet you he'd be the most patriotic dude ever.
Flags on his car blowing in the wind.
Yes, you know Rami would be.
USA, USA. My dog's not Gabagool anymore. He is Washington.
Yes.
Washington Makloff.
Yes. You know he would change immediately if that flag football team were Bears players. Awesome. No doubt. Hey, listen up. Late night cravings. Eat great, even late, because Wendy's is now open till midnight or later. You know what you want that's irresistible? How about a juicy Baconator loaded with 6 strips of oven-cooked bacon? Get yourself to Wendy's tonight before those midnight cravings become a full-blown hungry nightmare. Hours may vary by location. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit about the Brewers, about the idea of, hey, man, they were the 1 seed last year. It didn't work. Does it even matter this year if they end up with the 1 seed? Because right now, they're only a couple games behind the Dodgers for that 1 seed. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Hey, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Leadoff show coming up 5 to 6:30. Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunk of love, is here on your drive home tonight. Brewers and Cardinals, game 5.
Can I ask you something?
I heard Brand Snyder earlier say, this does not matter tonight. It's house money. You've already got 3 wins. You've already won the series. Tonight really doesn't matter. If you win, great. If you lose, it's not end of the world. I tend to agree with that, Tommy.
Ooh, okay. So then that probably will answer my question. Before the trader, I'll respect your wishes. Before the trader went to Chicago, were you always more despised for the Cubs than for the Cardinals?
Yes, but I hate the Cardinals for La Russa and Matheny and all of that. Yes,
because
Cub fans hate the Cardinals more than
I hate the Cardinals as a Brewers fan. Before I was like hating them really as a Cubs
I mean,
fan.
Before, all right. It all depends what era we're talking about.
Yeah.
When the
like
Cubs
2010 Brewers,
when the Cubs weren't good and the Cardinals were, and you're battling with them all the time with La Russa and stuff, and you're fighting with them, and La Russa's talking crap and all that.
Right.
Yes, Cardinals were the number 1 team.
Greg Matzik, shout out to him, getting in La Russa's face.
Yes,
but still, I grew up with the Cardinals. At least we can shake the Cubs' hands about the Cardinals. Like we are despising of the Cardinals. When the trader left, I totally get why people amplified their hatred towards the Cubs. That makes complete sense. But I grew up always, the Cardinals were the team the Brewers despised the most.
For me, it changed for me when Matheny and Yadi Molina were done. Yadi Molina was the last one. Okay. Once he was done, I don't know. There's really not guys on that team who are like, I can't stand that guy.
But you were like alive in 1982.
Yeah, I was 6. But yeah. But you're right. I mean, for those people that, the World Series and the rain and everything else that played out that year, that it goes all the way back to then. But a lot of the reason why people haven't liked the Cardinals was they always win. They always think they know it all. The Cardinal way, all that stuff. And I've always said this, the Packers are the Cardinals in this division. It's always been, that's what it is, right? The Packers have consistently won the division with Favre and Rodgers for all those years. Every team in the division hates the Packers, hate the Packer fans because of it. And the Packer way, they even say the Packer way and have for a long time. That drove people nuts. That is exactly what Packers are. They were the Cardinals in football in the NFC North.
So I did this with Tim Allen maybe a week or so ago on the post-game show, looking up because we were talking about guys who just torched the Brewers, right? And throughout history.
So many. Brandon Phillips, first guy comes to my mind.
Pujols came to mind for me first, and we looked it up. I think he's the second most home runs against the Brewers. Do you know who has hit the most career home runs against the Milwaukee Brewers? A single player, if you had to guess. It's a very high-profile guy.
No idea. I just think of the Sean Green, however many home run game.
One day. Yeah, yes, correct. Yes. That would be the record. Reggie Jackson has hit like 62 career homers against the Brewers. Isn't that just ridiculous to say out loud? And it's not close. I think Pujols is second with like 45. And obviously, going back then, like the Brewers in the AL East, right? And that's how it works out. But Reggie Jackson, I think he would be under 500 career homers if the Brewers didn't exist.
Probably right.
Yeah, I think it's just a ridiculous run against the Brewers. I would love to know if anyone's got more against the team.
How many did you say? 62?
62, 63. What did you say?
I think he has 62 career 62. Homers.
Reggie Jackson has 563 career home runs, so he'd be one over.
So he's at 563, so he'd still be one over.
So he's got 501 career home runs
if you take out
and
the
now
Brewers.
563 because it's against the Brewers. That's ridiculous.
But sometimes a player just owns a team. Now that dude's a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever play. Sure. So that's a little bit different. But sometimes, for instance, Mizorowski, who was it for the Reds? That keeps doing his thing against Herrera?
No. Well, that's the Cardinals. Herrera's homered twice off of him, but it's the rookie, Sal Stewart.
Okay, right. Yeah. So it's Herrera that I'm thinking of then. So Herrera came out. They asked him, man, how are you doing so well against Mizorowski? Did you see? Because
he's putting the pitch machine up to like 110.
Aaron asked you should ask Braun how he would have prepared for Murphy or prepared for Mizorowski.
I did ask
last night. And what he did was, like you said, he jacked it to like 108 or something and put a bunch of foam balls in there and had him spit out at him because he wanted it to be faster. So when he saw Mizorowski, it would look slower than he was trying to hit in the batting cage. That has to be the way everybody prepares for this dude.
You would think.
It
Yeah. I
has to
mean,
be.
how else would you do it? You might as well throw it up to a ridiculous speed
I
to
gotta
try
say,
to make it look a little more comfortable.
How fast can these machines throw now?
I mean,
I had no idea there was a machine that could even do that.
Well, they got the one that looks like it has the video of the pitcher throwing along with the pitching machine. So I think they're pretty advanced by now.
110?
That doesn't seem like that hard to do. I feel like science has gotten to that point.
You got to think that. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Miz, but if he is on a progression as a pitcher and it's continuing to get better towards his prime years,
he'll be playing with the Dodgers.
Well, could you imagine? Like, are we going to rule out that Jacob Mizorowski isn't going to touch like 107 one day?
I don't know how that works,
because you're not at your strongest when you're 24 years old as like a normal human.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, are we ruling that out that he's going to throw, if he's healthy, the fastest pitch of all time?
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Like, what do you mean? He's 24. He's a baby.
He'll be fine. Yeah, he's got it.
107.
Also, I'd like to point
Why
out,
not?
Ivan Herrera has been for the past 3 seasons, so like one of the most underrated hitters in all of baseball. So that helps too. Not only that he's practicing with 110 miles per hour on a pitching machine, but that he is just one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball right now. And people just don't know. That's what you need to beat Miz, is to be one of the greatest and to also practice like crazy.
Yes, no question about that. Hey, speaking of the greatest, one of the greatest, Habish, and Rotier, baby. That's what we're talking about. National reputation, hometown service. They've been helping injured Wisconsinites for nearly 100 years. The firm has built a national reputation while staying rooted in Wisconsin communities. Again, 1930, they started this thing. The lawyers have obviously changed over the course of time and so forth. But the basis with Habish and Habish is simple. While people come and people go, they want you to feel comfortable going to them and talking to them. They don't want you to get up and leave their office and be like, that person even listened to me? Because I don't think that person really listened to me. That person was trying to get to the next client, and we're just trying to get me out of the office. That's not how this works. They're approachable. They treat you like family or a friend. They're going to go and do as much as they can to get you as much as that you deserve. And leaving the stress of everything, that's the other part of it. Having been through this, when you're talking about doctor bills and your car's totaled and, you've got glass in your hair and your head like I did and everything that goes through it, it's scary, man. You don't sleep at night. You're freaking out and you need to be able to go to somebody that you can trust. And in this instance, we're talking about right now, these are the people. Habish, and Rotier, 13 locations. They're in Appleton and Green Bay, WNFL right there in your backyard. They're in Wausau if you're listening to us on the game there. How about in Madison? Yeah, they're in that area too. Kenosha, Lake Geneva, Racine, Rhinelander, Sheboygan, Stevens Point, Waukesha, Wausau, West Bend, all over southeastern Wisconsin. Check them out today by simply going to Habish.com. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Hope you are well here on a Thursday. The weekend is almost here. I am not here tomorrow. Another travel baseball tournament, this time in Green Bay. So heading there tomorrow morning, be there for the weekend, and then I'll be coming back, and I'll be here on Monday. The franchise, Tim Allen, will be here filling in for me tomorrow afternoon with our guy, Charlie Usen. And I'm sure there will probably be some baseball, Brewers talk on the show tomorrow would be my guest. Baseball coverage on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi, one price, 5 years guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that. I heard rumblings of Lane Grindle possibly on the show tomorrow.
There are rumblings of that. It sounds like it is confirmed. We don't know what time yet. So
That's
we're still
okay.
figuring out the time, but Lane Grindle's going to be on. I'm sure I'm going to have to bring up this fantasy football discussion that we had with Tim tomorrow because he's a big fantasy sports guy. So I'm sure he's going to love all these different leagues and want to talk about that. And then, like you said, bunch of Brewers, they take on the Pirates this weekend. So lots to talk about there.
And again, lots of sports action in general going on. That's why you go to the Potawatomi Sportsbook, 2,000-foot center screen, over 30 sporting events at once. You want to go down there and watch some World Championship soccer going on right now, you can obviously do that. 2 levels. Got the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen. That is amazing. Got homemade pastries and desserts made on site, over 40 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, full menu, including an all-day brunch. It really is can't miss. And don't forget about the shuttles to and from Brewers home games all season long as well, right there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Go online to learn more by simply going to Potawatomi.com. Again, that is Potawatomi.com. All right, real quick.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now.
All right, real quickly here on the way out, we did not get to talk about John Horst and the Bucks and his comments yesterday to the Bucks beat writers and whoever else was on that call. This is the thing. I just want everybody to understand going into this. We can never, ever be in a position again where we start setting the bar at, well, we'd just like to be in the playing tournament. Well, we'd just like to be, the 6th seed. Just want to be competitive. We just don't want to suck. That's because then we're getting into Herb Cole territory, right? The goal has to be the entire time of how do we build this thing back to a championship team? Not saying in 2 years I expect it to be a championship level. You have to take your steps. I understand that. But that has to constantly be the big picture goal. That'll do it for me. The leadoff show up next with Tommy Wirtz. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.